survive and advanced. Georgia does it again, 24-20, winning over Florida. Took a critical defensive stop. What could have been a fumble was not called a fumble. And then what could have been a complete pass was called an incomplete pass for Florida. Georgia finds a way once again and makes it 5 straight wins over the Florida Gators. Kirby Smart, in his tenure, a decade into it now, 8-2 against Florida. And when you ponder that with the records of the previous era of Georgia football against Florida, Florida being in turmoil during this, all of that super noteworthy that this rivalry has been as one-sided as it is. This game in particular was not one-sided at all. Georgia could have easily lost this game, and if you looked early in the first quarter, it very much felt like Georgia was going to lose this game. This show is for you all. If you want to come on, tell us your thoughts, your opinions, your reactions, how you were coping with what you thought was going to be a Georgia loss, how you're celebrating what is a Georgia win that keeps Georgia surviving and advancing as teams like Miami fall and look like they're out of the college football playoff situation. You can join, you can chat with us. It doesn't just have to be me talking here on the UGA Sports Postgame Reaction Show. The link to join is in our YouTube description. So if you'll click the see more there, you'll see a link through our streaming platform that will let you log in, likely through your Google account, your Facebook account, whatever it may be. And then you can join on and chat with us. You've got me for the first part of the show. I'm Dayne Young, been with UGAsports.com for 8-ish years. I work at University of Georgia in the journalism college. Been covering Georgia since I graduated college and even before. So lots of experience on our total UGA sports team. We've got a crew of people down in Jacksonville. I do the post-game overreaction show here from where we do the UGA Sports Watch-Along show with Jim Donnan. And you got me for about a half hour. Radi Nabulsi will take over after that. All right, let's get into this game. I have the stat sheet up here. It looks a bit more lopsided in the game comparison than I actually felt that it was, because this is a really good Florida defense, and I don't think that Georgia had answers for a while. The concern, though, was what could Florida's offense do when KJ Bolden gets a targeting penalty and does not play most of the second quarter or any of the second half. Fortunately for Georgia, that will not linger into the following game. KJ Bolden will be able to play against Mississippi State. But then all of a sudden, you looked up, and Georgia, already down at secondary because Kyron Jones' injury, you have Zion Branch on one side. And, even that in itself, you don't come into this game thinking, wow, Georgia's going to be relying on Zion Branch to win a game. Ja'Cory Thomas on the other side, who had already been getting some run for Georgia, but he had to be thrust into a more supreme spotlight. And the play at the end, Ellis Robinson didn't play for pretty much any of this game until DeMello Jones gets hurt. He had lost his job. DeMello Jones had become the number 2 corner on this team for the past couple of weeks. Ellis Robinson gets thrown back into the action and makes a critical play to stop Florida from having a chance to go and tie or even win that game. Georgia could have scored a touchdown there. Gunnar Stockton keeps the ball off the edge, takes a knee down at the end. If you are someone that took Georgia to cover a spread in Vegas, I am sorry for you. For the most part, I don't think the chat cares about that a whole lot. It's more so that Georgia, for the 5th straight year, beat the Florida Gators. How about Chauncey Bowens being used sparingly in this game, getting 9 carries, 70 yards, and the touchdown, 36-yard run, which when it broke open, it was funny being here where we record the show with Coach Donnan. He screamed in excitement. He was so happy for Chauncey Bowens to break that and get into the end zone. Yep, guy says that Gunnar took a knee, so Florida would not get the ball back. Exactly. You take the knee. That's the smart thing to do. I'm just acknowledging that the point spread on this game would have changed depending on which way you bet had Georgia scored a touchdown there and Florida not scored again. But yes, the smart play absolutely is what happened. You go down, you win the game because you can knee it out. You do not give Florida any agency with the ball, onside kicks, any of that jazz. As we saw earlier in the day, Vanderbilt came that close to getting an onside kick to give themselves a chance to find a way and come back to beat Texas. All right, let's think about a little bit of macro here for Georgia. You beat Florida, and then later on in the schedule for the Bulldogs, you start to get into Mississippi State next week. That's going to be a noon Eastern kick, 11 Central. Got to get up and going for that one. And then after that, Texas comes into town. Texas, a team all of a sudden with some momentum. It looks like they are playing better than they have most of the season. Technically, still in the SEC championship race, the Texas Longhorns are after overtime wins against Kentucky and Mississippi State. After Texas, Charlotte at home. I mean, we know what that is. And then potentially Georgia Tech undefeated based on the way their schedule hangs out. And that's a Friday game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, not Bobby Dodd Stadium. So for Georgia to have navigated this middle part of the schedule here, the month of October, first day of November, with wins over Kentucky, at Auburn, Ole Miss, and now Florida, pretty masterful job there from Kirby Smart and crew. Yeah. I see you on the chat. I can handle that. I'm just talking at the same time. So boom. Someone's like flooding the chat, and now they're not able to. So taking care of that. No reason to have bots in here. Got a Go Dogs here from Germany. Says I'm out of ideas of how this team plays. Defensive backs letting people behind them still maddening. Just take the win and move on. You know, one thing I was before Roddy left here in person. And yeah, you're correct. Ellis Robinson did not start the game. He only came in late in the fourth quarter after DeMello Jones had gotten hurt. This version of SEC football feels a bit more like what you see on Sundays in the NFL. And it's a situation to where we're not seeing blowouts in the SEC. Doesn't matter if it's Texas versus Kentucky or Mississippi State versus, I don't know, who's one of the top teams in the league. Mississippi State versus Texas A&M, I think, would be a pretty close game. Just like Percy saying here, Mississippi State makes you nervous. It should totally make you nervous. That team can score points. They've been competing with other teams well. I just don't think that there are blowouts happening in the SEC. And I think the data is supporting that right now. Meaning there is something to how do you find a way to win a close game, or how do you find a way to win a game where you probably didn't play well enough to win. And Georgia's done that a couple of times this year. Call it a culture win if you want to. I think some of it comes down to Georgia's play calling on offense based on some of the challenges they've had has been really good for the most part this year. And Gunnar Stockton has made plays all season. First half, he throws a perfect pass to Noah Thomas, bounces off of Noah Thomas as he jumps up to get it, turns into an interception that Florida has from there. There was one late in the game that Gunnar had a really poor throw to Oscar Delp. Those are going to happen every now and again. It just seems like it's happening with less frequency with Gunnar Stockton. So I would think, and you all tell me, that he's been pretty easy to root for. He's been efficient. He's been strong. He's a good playmaker. And, look, as we saw before, I think it was Brent Rollins put this in our internal team group chat for UGA Sports. When Gunnar Stockton hit that first touchdown on the drive, literally at the same time, Carson Beck threw an interception in the red zone, 3rd and 6. I think it was at the 6-yard line in overtime. And then that set it up for SMU to beat Miami. And, I think this team's easier to root for than maybe some of the ones from last year. And I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. And I'm not even saying like a rooting interest for my sake as media that covers the team. That's I don't know. There's a fight in this team that I find to be really endearing with sports. Someone's asking if Jeff Levy will be the coach next week. Yeah, look, I know that they haven't been good this year at Mississippi State as a whole, but I think that they're pretty happy with Jeff Levy's efforts so far, so I wouldn't worry about that. If anything, his name could potentially come up for other jobs eventually, because I think he's done a pretty good job at Mississippi State. And looks like Ole Miss just kicked a field goal, now trails 7-3 to South Carolina. Again, South Carolina's 1-5 in the league. Early lead, likely a lead at the end of a quarter over Ole Miss. So we'll see where that goes. Let me get a couple comments here, and then I'll hit up Jeremy has joined in into our waiting room, and I'll get some comments from Jeremy. But I want to make sure I give the chat. Yeah, another heart attack game, Sherry. I think that's going to be the rest of the season here, other than Charlotte. But Mississippi State could totally be close. Texas is really good on the line of scrimmage. I know they're not a great team overall. Quarterback situation doesn't scare you a whole lot, but Texas can beat Georgia. They have the talent on that team to do it. And then Georgia Tech at the end. Duck Hunting Dogs says Zachariah Branch is the MVP. How great was he on the final drive of that game? 3 catches to go. Final stat line was 10 catches overall for 112 yards. And this is just every week with this guy. I'll get some more of you in the chat here as we can. Keep those coming in, like Casey with this super chat. Bama beat UGA, Vandy, Tennessee, Missouri going to the SEC championship. SEC championship race is an interesting one to monitor here. And look, I can even make the argument that maybe you don't want your team in the SEC championship. Maybe you want to be the 3rd or 4th best team in the SEC and have a home game in that first round of the playoff and scoot on from there. Remember, Ohio State and Notre Dame played in that first round of the playoffs last year on the way to the national championship. So that means that other teams that played in conference championships did not. So let's get Jeremy in here, Jeremy Neighbors. Routine on this show. Reaction to, what looked like early 4th quarter, Jeremy, that this was not going to go Georgia's way. They find a way again.
Man, it was make my blood pressure rise up like the rest of the Dog Nation, man. And these, like you said, these cardiac dogs find a way to get it done again. And what can you say about this team other than they find a way? And man, Chauncey Bowens, man. He might be my new man crush, man. He might be the most dominant running back when he's in there that I really think since like maybe Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, those days.
Well, and that's why he's in there. He didn't get many carries up until that last drive and a half.
Right. It's almost like he's the closer. He reminds me almost of like that starting pitcher that, the more you feed him, it seems like the stronger he gets. He's like that starting pitcher that just can go the distance. And yeah, I feel like, it's well documented that just doesn't happen with Georgia. We don't have that just running back that just gets fed again, and again. But man, if he did, the way he runs, man, Bowens could have taken over this game much sooner.
Yeah. And maybe it's, I don't know if it's a lingering health issue with him or if they just felt really comfortable with Nate Frazier early on. Underrated thing is Gunnar Stockton continuing to not necessarily be a full-on run threat because it looks like they've curbed that for him taking some hard hits, but extending the pocket, even with this healthy offensive line. Florida has a really good defensive front, and to be able to extend that, you just wonder the threat of Gunnar running. Did that open up some things for Chauncey Bowens late as players got tired?
I think it did. But I don't want to stay on here long, Dane. I'll let the other guys get on. But hang on one second. Hang on. You're good. Hang on. I got to get off here and get the kids bathed. But yeah, 5 straight over the Gators. I remember a time when the shoe was on the other foot in this series. A lot of fans do. So Georgia fans just enjoy it as long as it lasts. And I love this win almost more than any other we get all season. With that, I'll hop off, Dane.
Yeah, appreciate you hopping on, and y'all are going to sleep well tonight, Jeremy. So kids will get bathed and go to bed quickly, and y'all will rest comfortably. So, I think that the blood pressure rising, the nervous energy, and then finding a way at the end, I think he encapsulated both what I'm reading in the chat, but then also just what I assume is going to be the feeling for Georgia, similar to after the Tennessee game. But look, I don't know that Georgia will play a better defense than Florida's for the rest of the season, and I include Texas's in that. Texas has some dudes now, so I'm not sitting there saying that they're a bad defense or anything. But that quality of that Florida defense is strong. And maybe in postseason, there'll be some of that for sure. Ohio State is on a different level if Georgia gets, in a matchup with them. But look, we are at a point in college football where before you start thinking about matchups or where it can be possible in the postseason, you got to freaking make it there. And when you start trying to fill out 12 teams in the country, and I know there's some conference champions happening in this situation, they're starting to fall off here. Like, Miami will not be a college football playoff team. I don't think they're going to play for an ACC championship, and that's kind of their path at this point. And if you would ask me 3 weeks ago if that would have been the case, I would have said absolutely Miami, based on the way they were playing, would be a team that would be in the college football playoff situation. Even in looking at the rankings right now, you feel good about Ohio State and Indiana. Look, I know Texas A&M is getting a lot of love in the SEC, especially for how they beat LSU last week. Would not surprise me if A&M lost to Missouri next week at Missouri. Like that, there's so much volatility in this league that I guess for Georgia fans that are watching this, my encouragement for you is to really celebrate these kind of wins, because even though this is a Florida team that is not, I mean, they just fired their coach, right? So we're not sitting there saying that they're this elite team. They're what's their record now? Have 3 wins on the season, and one of those was to Long Island. One of those was a barely win over Mississippi State. One, they beat Texas, though. So there is talent on this team, 3-5 overall. Don't let that stop you from celebrating what was a really clutch win for the Georgia Bulldogs. Again, if you want to join, have your voice heard in here, hang out with us, you can use the link in the YouTube description, just like Jeremy did. Others will come on as well, hang out with us. And T. Franklin says it's Ohio State versus the inept Little 10. I think Indiana's a different level this year, T. Franklin. That feels slightly different. Last year I would have told you they were frauds and made it in the playoff, whatever. They have some extra dudes on that team this year. I don't know that, for future years it will make a big difference. Yeah, exactly, Sam. Florida beat Texas. So, that's not an awful team. It's just that they fired their head coach. Florida has some good players, and it's hard to score points on them. And Lagway is hit or miss, right? If that pass has a little bit more air under it at the end of the game, who knows how we're thinking right now. Georgia needed a couple of breaks to go its way, but frankly, Florida, to get to that point, needed breaks to go its way. And both of those ended up happening. Georgia just, they don't give you a whole lot, and they gave Florida, and Florida took some as well, about as much to be able to make this as competitive as it was. A comment from Mr. VW Will. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, best in the Big Ten. Yeah, I would say that that's the case. And Ohio State, I think, is on a different echelon than most everyone else right now. But there is a chance that these battle-tested teams like a Georgia is definitely going to be. There's just a little something different when they get in that position in one of these big games. Will Ohio State at that time, and they'll have Michigan later in the year. I get that. Will they be a team in the playoff that is as crisp as, think how it was last year for Ohio State? They almost needed to get knocked down a peg late in the regular season to set up that playoff run that they had. Same thing with Notre Dame last season. You lose to Northern Illinois, run the table, get to the national championship. Is Georgia capable of something like that? And Gunnar Stockton's a gamer. Zachariah Branch is one of the most elite playmakers in the country at this stage. You still have Dylan Bell. You're seeing Chauncey Bowens. And I still think the thing that makes Georgia better and more dangerous than other teams is that offensive line, as it has gained health and cohesion, and you still have those 2 true freshmen and Dontrell Glover and Juan Gaston being really, really, really high-level football players at such a young age, that size, that technique. that gives Georgia more depth on the offensive line to compete with anyone, even if the talent differential is there. And I don't think there are many teams that are more talented than Georgia. Georgia's offense would really have to lead the way against an Ohio State and those receivers based on how Georgia's defensive backs have played. But look, so much credit has to go to Zion Branch and Ellis Robinson for coming in and finding a way to help Georgia bend and don't break, essentially, because it did seem like Florida could move the ball quite a lot there in the second half. Total yards for Florida ended up being 281. Georgia's was 361 total yards. Wound up with Georgia winning 24-20. Amari Carmichael says, yeah, need a little help on the defensive line. That's one of the things with Jordan Hall going down in this game, and we'll see the status of that injury as we move forward in the season. Depth is tested there. Josh Horton, the Miami transfer, will get more playing time. You saw Nnamdi Aboko come in and have a critical play. And Amari Evans says Christian Miller was only standout on the defensive line. I think that's probably most of the case. Although Mboko, he's had a couple, like his high moments this year have really helped Georgia elevate their status. I've been on here chatting with you all, so I've not heard Kirby Smart's post-game comments. We have to shout out CJ Allen. You're totally right about this. And reason that, like, I think it was about a month ago, because we monitor what some of the pundits are saying in terms of like NFL draft stock. And look, Georgia does not have a ton of first-round picks in upcoming draft. I think that's pretty obvious based on the field, but then any pundit you talk about, you're just not going to see a lot of that. And then we started seeing CJ Allen's name up in there, and it kind of confused me first month of the season. I was thinking, I don't know that CJ Allen has played that caliber necessarily. He has the last 3 weeks, last 2 or 3 games for Georgia. CJ Allen has been superstar on the field, and it's one of those old school Georgia linebackers, make the play, know where you're supposed to be, physical tackler. Maybe the best they've had since Nakobe Dean at that spot. I'll let y'all debate that. And I agree. I do think that he'll go to the first round. They're watching us in LJ. I know we're being watched in Montana earlier from UGA Sports Watch Along show. We'll get some more of your comments on here as well. Again, if you want to join and not just hear me talk all the time, share your thoughts, share your opinions. Get on the screen yourself. There's a link in our YouTube description, and you can overreact right along with us. Although I really don't know that there's that much here to overreact to. And if there is, it's Georgia's secondary is just going to be a wild ride the rest of the year. And especially in this circumstance they had today where DeMello Jones gets hurt, KJ Bolden gets ejected for targeting. It just put Georgia in a really difficult position. I mean, Kirby said next man up, but you could hear he didn't have a whole lot of confidence in that situation. I'll be curious to see how he discusses that. Henry says that Ellis had a pick 6, and that would have been nice. Great job jumping the pass either way. Yeah, I was talking with Radi about that, and man, like we've all watched Georgia-Florida games where weird stuff happens, and I just imagine the way he turned his body. It should have been a pick, and it probably would have been a pick 6. But like, there's also like a 2% chance that the ball completely goes through him and is caught behind him by the Florida receiver. And that would have been really, really, really tough for Georgia fans to manage. So you take what you get in that situation. He did a really good job of stepping in front of that play. And some of that was a bit of a rush throw because of Jonel Aguero blitzing off of the edge. And I thought that Georgia, I don't know that it did necessarily a great job against Lagway for the whole second half, but there were a couple spots there where they just rushed him a little bit. The most infuriating thing was watching him do QB draw against no linebackers when they would just clear it out and he would run for 8 or 9 yards. Let's see. Yes, Jackson Arnold did get benched at Auburn. So they are playing, I believe it's a freshman quarterback. That was announced last night. Hugh Freeze and the Tigers made that announcement. Is it Ashton Daniels, I believe is his name? Let me make sure I have that right. before I speak out of turn. Ashton, I feel confident in saying that. Yeah, Ashton Daniels is the starter for the Auburn Tigers. Score update, if you're curious, Ole Miss now leads 10-7 over South Carolina. I still think Ole Miss is one of the best teams in the country. And as most of you being Georgia fans in here, I think you want Ole Miss to keep winning so Georgia's resume stays very, very strong, and that is a top-notch win. Though I do think that Georgia Tech game at the end of the year will also represent something like that for Georgia based on where they're at, in the rankings. And I don't know that Georgia Tech is really that great. Their schedule has allowed them to look great. Susie Smythe's watching from Swainsboro, Georgia. I hope DeMello's all right. I know he's got a lot of love down there from y'all, Swainsboro Tiger. One of the best ever from Swainsboro. And I'm from East Dublin, so I like Swainsboro a lot too. Middle central Georgia area. So thanks for watching from Swainsboro. We're down in Screven County, just a little bit to the southeast of you there. We're the nice folks down there. Charlotte, North Carolina is in here watching. Thanks for doing that. Rocky Face Georgia's here. I love shouting out all these places in Georgia. Whoa, we're in Guam right now, too. There we go. Tech isn't built to beat UGA. Played 8 overtimes last year. I mean, built for it, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. With that quarterback for Georgia Tech and the limited amount of possessions that they offer, I do think that that'll be a tough game. And I don't know that Georgia's in the spot to be blowing out a lot of teams. And you're not seeing SEC blowouts anyway. I just don't know that quite happens as much anymore. Roddy, I see you're in the background here, and feel free to throw yourself up whenever you'd like. I know you're probably getting set too. So I'll just let you bring yourself in when you feel comfortable and continue shouting out some people here in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat. And thanks to Benton & Benton, attorneys at law. Support them because they support the show here. Let me get the final score out of here since I have the graphic there. There we go. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like Georgia Tech will make Georgia's passing game look amazing. I think that's totally true, but I also think that Georgia's secondary may make Haynes King look a little bit better as a passer than he actually is. That's totally possible. Got Warner Robbins in the house here. Thanks for watching down there. Some really big high school football action happening down in Warner Robbins for these last couple of weeks as we have region champions being crowned. We get in the state championship. Up in Evans, they're watching us. In Milton, Hermosa Beach, California, which I hear is a lot like LaGrange, Roddy. I think they're pretty similar these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6 one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah.
I feel weird being asked by ASW if I'm old enough to go into their site. So someone asked me the other day, they said, I've been watching the up and down of your bottles on the postgame show. They seem to go up and down a lot. They're like, are you refilling them? I'm like, no. I go over to that store right beside the Publix on the east side, that little store in there, and they carry it's $49.99 for a bottle of, and I look like a damn alcoholic. So shout out to our folks at ASW for sponsoring the show. This one is, and this goes straight to CJ Allen and his 13 tackles tonight.
They're watching in Clearwater, Florida, in St. Mary's. Down in Stone Mountain by way of Dublin, a West Lawrence Raider, and I'll forgive you for that. I'm an East Lawrence Falcon over here, and we can get along, but I don't have bragging rights because East Lawrence doesn't beat West Lawrence in football, and that's more factual than anything else, and I don't have to sit on that because I am in the mood of being on the right side of a rivalry game, which Georgia has been for 5 years in a row against Florida, and not necessarily the wrong. Out in Colorado, up in Louisville. Hey, I mean, we're all over the place. Birmingham's in here.
I'm sorry.
What are you talking about? Facebook doesn't get love anymore. We're all over Facebook.
We've grown to 205,000 followers on Facebook, and that's because of folks like you, Mindy, who support us. A lot of our competitors, when they got into this market, they went out and bought giant Facebook groups. You know, the people who are just Georgia football fans and that have like 300,000 people in that group. Some of our competitors went out and bought that group from the people that started it, and then you'd have Bulldogs on whatever network, with an instant 300,000 followers. We started out with 1, and now we've grown to 205,000 because of people like you who share our content on Facebook. It means a lot to us. Every time you comment, every time you share it, it helps get UGA Sports out in front of other people. Knoxville, a lot of folks.
We're in Thomasville. We're in Rome, Italy. I'm jealous and I want to go there. Johnson City, Tennessee, Dayton, Ohio, by way of Southwest DeKalb. Maybe that's what we should start doing. We should start doing the high school shout outs as much as the hometown shout.
Southwest DeKalb, man. What a band, what a team, what a program. Glenwood Hills. Y'all don't know football unless you play Southwest DeKalb in football. My God.
Anyway, we appreciate all y'all for being on here and supporting what we do because, man, we get to have a lot of fun because of all y'all that hang out with us. And I think a lot of y'all are having fun tonight because, again, 5 straight wins.
Gators. Yeah, I'm with you.
For Georgia over Florida. And, Roddy, you tend to be there most every season. And I know you had circumstances that prevented you from going down to Jacksonville.
Thank God. Thank God I didn't go to that game.
Right? But my general thoughts on Jacksonville was like when you're in the stadium, it can be. Jacksonville's not my vibe, and that's fine. I'm one of the ones that wish the game wasn't played there. I think anyone that's down there right now, the Georgia folks, are having a lot of fun after this game. So I get that, and I understand that, and I embrace that. All to say, Georgia has owned Jacksonville for half a decade now, and the better part of 10 years.
Well, I mean, Kirby Smart's 8-2 against the Gators. That's just. I never thought. Remember, he lost a couple of those early on. So at some point, they're like, "Well, he's only 2-2 versus Florida. He's only 3-2. He's not much better than Mark Richt." He's pulled off 5 in a row to go to 8-2 against the Gators. So, and this one was a tough one. Kirby Smart. I think they showed a graphic that he was like 4-0 against the Gators in the 1-score games, and that's exactly what you had tonight. He said, "Look, it's going to come down to 1 game." And there was a reason. Everybody was thinking this game was going to be a blowout. No, I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of people. I thought that this would be a blowout, and I'm like, have you ever watched a Georgia-Florida game? Or what are you smoking? Weird things happen down there, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. The line was only 7.5, and there was a reason for that. Remember, Ole Miss came to town ranked number 5 in the nation. The line was 7.5. Georgia's playing Florida without its head coach. The line is 7.5. What does that tell you? It tells you that Georgia plays weird in Jacksonville and weird things happen down there. You have a bad snap that hardly ever happens. You get procedure calls, holding calls that hardly ever happen. Targeting calls. When's the last time Georgia lost a guy to targeting?
A fumble that was't a fumble.
A fumble that wasn't a fumble. A catch that wasn't a catch that might have been a catch. 45 minutes on whether or not his hand was going forward. It's just weird crap happens in Jacksonville. And Kirby said it last week. These dogs are hard to kill. They are a tough out. You can get up on them, and you can feel the people who, even when Georgia was trailing, like, we got this. And all it took was once they got that, Florida's looking at 3rd and 2. And they hadn't converted a whole lot of 3rd downs, but they hadn't needed to. They converted a 2nd and 20. Georgia gets a stop and then turns them over on downs. That was huge. And then Georgia moves down the field and puts the game away, even when they have to, give the ball back. Or you think they're going to have to give the ball back, but Georgia is able to get a first down, get a offsides call, and punch it in. Got to love what was it, 2 weeks ago that Gunnar Stockton dove for the corner, did the Superman into the end zone. And then this week he's got a chance to do the exact same thing, and he stops and takes the knee. I asked him about that after it happened. I'm like, did Kirby talk to you about diving into the end zone when you should have just taken a knee? I was glad he dove into the end zone at Auburn. It was a beautiful shot, and, go ahead and score. But, Kirby would rather line up and take 3 knees and just get out of there with a win. And that's exactly what happened. He had a walk-in touchdown that would have covered the spread. Georgia would have covered. But no, he takes a knee on the 1-yard line, and then they get away with it. So this is basically my long-winded way of saying, here's my thoughts on the game. Weird things happened in that one. The people that thought it was going to be a blowout, I'm like, teams, after they lose their head coach, they tend to rally. Plus, Georgia struggled down there last year, even though you had Carson back. He winds up throwing 3 interceptions. You're playing their third-string walk-on quarterback, and Florida is still in it in the fourth quarter when they shouldn't be. There's no right for them to be in it. And Georgia did the same thing when Florida was rolling and just kicking Georgia's butt. Georgia would have them on the ropes. Have them on the ropes in the fourth quarter, and then, some kick or something would happen, some turnover. And those games were a lot closer. There's very few blowouts in this series, no matter what's going on either sideline. But Kirby Smart, 8-2. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime.
Quentin Cobb asked why was third event wide open in the last play, and did he catch it? I don't think he caught it. It was very, 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 very close, and you had to go with whatever they said on the field. They said on the field that he trapped it or it bounced, and so that's what they stuck with. Why was he wide open?
Georgia's
starters at defensive back cannot cover for very long. The guys that were in there by the end of this thing cannot cover for long at all. And so, Florida had a play where it extended just a little bit.
That's not fair, but you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Miscommunication, lack of knowledge assignment, things that if you did it better on a regular basis, you'd have a better chance at starting. And it has to go 2 or 3 deep at this point between Kyron Jones being out and KJ Bolden having the one thing on that last play, Roddy, I will give credit to. I guess I'm thinking more of the Ellis Robinson play here. Janelle Aguero coming off the edge as a pass rusher. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, you bring in one extra guy, and they do star blitzes. They do corner blitzes, but you got to get home. You saw what happened when Florida brought a corner blitz, and I think it was on that first drive. Gunner just lays it, looked like a bullfighter, and takes off around the edge because there's no support there, because when the corner comes, you have to, you're leaving a wide receiver wide open. So somebody has to go with him, and that's the run support on that side, and consequently Gunner takes off down the line there. So you got to get home on that. We've seen Georgia miss a few of those, but when Aguero comes, then you make the most of it. Big shout out to Christian Miller, Xavier McLeod, Josh Horton. Trying to think of who else stepped up in there. Ungboko at the end when Georgia needed stops and they were down you're down DeMello Jones, you're down a starter there. You're down KJ Bolden, a starter there. You're down Kyron Jones, another down both starting safeties and a starting corner, and you lose Jordan Hall early in the game. You needed a pass rush. You needed people to be able to stop you on the defensive line, to stop them on the defensive line. You needed to be able to stop the run. And those defensive linemen, Elijah Griffin, those guys made some plays. So when you needed them most, they showed up. And that's the way this Georgia team, you're starting to feel like, well, you're only down 10. It's like that's not comfortable for most people. But Georgia fans are kind of getting used to that. I saw Trent make a joke about you can pre-write your leads in every Georgia game. Georgia came back from 10 down. Georgia came back from 3 scores down to knock off number 5, whoever. And he's right. It's just that they don't die.
Casey with a super chat saying thought Georgia abandoned the run at times. Maybe a little, but you just had a couple things where you got behind the sticks and it made it hard. Look, Florida's a good team, and it's hard to run the ball on that defensive line. So
they're just like Georgia. I mean, the run defense was right there with them. The pass defense was right there with them numerically, but objectively, when you look at how ineffective their offense has been, the fact that that they hang their defense out to dry a lot. First half, their defense was out there all the time. I mean, Florida, what they were on 21 plays in the first half? It wasn't a lot. My point is, the fact that was a stout defense, and Georgia was not able to block them. Georgia was able to toss around the Ole Miss defensive line. These Florida boys are big boys, and that is stout. And Georgia had a hard time running it. Casey, I'm with you though. Some of the runs that were working early on, they kind of got away from it. They were throwing on first down, missing on first down. 2nd and 10, run it, which they know you're going to do because you got to get something. So all of a sudden those linebackers come up. Georgia's average on, get this, Georgia's average on 3rd down was 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
3rd and 9. So I'm with you. I know people are like, why are you running it on 1st down? Because it's effective. Give me 2nd and 6, not 2nd and 10, because then they know what's coming.
I have a bigger bone to pick, and that's with Kyle Hennon. Says, can we stop calling Branch an elite playmaker? And he goes on to say, Branch jumps for zero reason on any reception beyond the line of scrimmage, and then he catches half the balls with his belly button instead of his hands. Well, then why did Florida fear him so much? Because the dude had like over 100 yards and 3 clutch catches on the final drive. And the situation to be at the end of the game, Noah Thomas, when he catches that touchdown, it's because they're scared to death of Zachariah Branch. So fine if you want to say he's not an elite playmaker. Every other coach in the SEC absolutely disagrees with you.
No, I mean, I let's say what it is. Okay, let's say he doesn't catch it correctly, but he catches it.
Right.
Go back to last year. You could have some guys catching with their hands, not jumping, and Georgia had the most drops of anybody in the league or anybody in the college football. So I'm with you. Yeah, I hate to see that the guys hopping like that. I don't know why.
I don't care. Make the play, and he does.
Yeah, but he is reliable, and there were a couple times where he caught those short passes and took off like a rocket up the field. And that's why he's so effective in the screen game, throwing to him behind the line of scrimmage. What kills me is they started out with some great blocks for him on the first drive at least. Second drive. First drive, he didn't touch it. Later on, they were throwing some nice screens for him, some good blocks. Then all of a sudden, they're just tossing it to him in space, which is great if it's 1-on-1, but it was always 2-on-1 every time. And I'm like, why? What? Schematically, I don't have time to assess it. I have to go back and watch the film. I can't figure it out like Coach does on the fly. But that was driving me crazy.
Like, Kyle says the bar is lowered, and it's just competence. If that's what competence looks like, then there aren't competent players in the SEC
hardly
at all. Because like,
I will take competence.
That guy.
Yes, that's fine. You're right. So the bar is lowered. So maybe he's not elite, but he did make plays. So, and you would be what? The Dogs are 7-1 now. You'd be 5-3 without him. If that.
Yeah. Well, and look, the other piece of this, Roddy, and I know John just joined in the background too, so I want to be sure we don't leave him waiting for a long time because he's one of the best ones that come on here for sure.
Hey, don't get his big. His head's big enough.
The way that Gunnar Stockton, I mean, the offensive line is as good as it's been in a year at this point, just in terms of overall talent and health. And I knock on wood at this point, right?
Yeah.
The way that Gunnar Stockton lengthens plays, saves plays, moves around, even the final play of the game to have the option to do what he did, that doesn't happen in the previous since Stetson Bennett.
No, you're right.
And it's such an asset for Georgia to have a quarterback that can help the offensive line move around things, extend plays. He is a running threat, yes, but you can tell they've mitigated that to try to preserve his health. But he extends plays and gives life to the offense when the defense has really made a good play, and you saw that on that first drive too.
How did Carson Beck do today?
Threw an interception in overtime that cost Miami the game, and SMU won, likely ending the playoff chances for the Miami Hurricanes.
That's a lot of interceptions for $4 million.
Had a lot against Louisville. I don't know if you remember that.
How many do you have there?
Was it 4? It was definitely 3, and there was a 4th that was called back.
I'm not trying to be a shit. I'm just saying it's a situation where this is a guy who I'm just kind of hitting on your point. Carson Beck has the bigger arm. I have no question. He's got, he looks like the NFL QB. But there were way too many times last year that Georgia threw too many interceptions. He turned the ball over a lot. This year, when Kirby's got a new quarterback, he's telling Gunnar, don't turn my ball over. You know the biggest problem we had last year. And Gunnar has been a very good steward of the ball. today, instead of trying to make a play with his arm that leads to an interception, he can tuck and run and scramble and get out of there. He takes less sacks. And you're right. What his legs do for this team makes them look a lot more like Georgia did with Stetson Bennett. He's not Stetson Bennett. He's not close, but he's closer than what you had with Carson, the stand-up, statuesque, pocket passer. And that's what college football needs, is somebody who's dangerous with their legs. Because, again, third down, you've got the quarterback run. And we saw 2 draws today. How many yards did he wind up with? I know he got sacked a couple times.
Gunner?
Yeah.
He ran for, he ended up being 11 on the stat sheet. But again, the extended plays, that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't get to be petty often, Roddy, but
I know. I'm not trying to be petty. I'm just saying.
I am. I am trying to be petty here. Because look,
I've got nothing against him. I'm just saying, I was just illustrating your point where if the guy had come back, maybe Georgia's better, maybe they're worse, but I love what Gunner's doing, and these guys play hard for him. You don't have a sourpuss back there. Carson is a sourpuss. These guys throw their bodies around for him. So for Gunner, because Gunner throws his around. So shout out to Gunner for having a good day.
I don't go schadenfreude often, and I don't mean anything personal, but from an entertainment standpoint, which is why I think we all do this, man, I'm enjoying seeing what's happening down at Miami right now. Because the leadership style that was here, some of the BS of him trying to claim that Georgia coaches and medical staff were trying to get him to play when he was injured and trying to do all that while talking just like podcasts and being a terrible leader at Georgia, having to be last year at the beginning of the season. Who's leading this team? Maybe the highest paid NIL person that Georgia's ever had. Someone, all the car different stuff. Yeah, give me the guy with the old beat up truck that still maybe it doesn't lock. I don't even know. Bring that down from Rabun County. That actually fits Georgia's culture a little bit better. You can't do that, Mr. Carson. Well, you go on down to Miami. You have fun down there. Enjoy losing to the next ACC team, and maybe you'll get drafted by the Jets in the 5th round and have a good life out of that. I'm sure that'll be wonderful for you, and I think Georgia will be just fine. That, to me, has been a lot of fun, and just get Seinfeld meme. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame.
No, the Schadenfreude, I get it. It's but some of the narratives that have come out about his time at Athens, and I'm like, look, these guys bent over backwards. They babied you. They kissed your ass. Kirby never yelled at you. Kirby took up for you all the time. Kirby treated you with kid gloves. He knocks the crap out of Gunner Stockton. He yells at him like that. Do
you remember the stats?
One of his kids.
The way he talked about
diving into the end zone against Auburn, And for all look, Athens is not a Lamborghini town. Okay, we've had enough issues with fast cars on the loop. We don't need Lamborghinis here. Athens is a truck town, and all the people that came out and said, "Oh, that's just some TV drama, TV narrative BS." It doesn't matter that he drives a truck, that he has cows. Yeah, it doesn't get you a first down. It doesn't mean anything. But the fact that these players love him, that matters.
Here's the difference. What's the elevator pitch that ESPN can tell in 15 seconds? Stetson Bennett, it's mailman, right? Walk-on mailman. Gunner Stockton, truck and farm in Rabun County. Jake Fromm, Little League Baseball. David Pollock and David Green played Pee Wee football together, grew up beside each other. Carson Bucks, TikTok.
Yeah, dating an influencer. Drives a Lambo. Yeah. Hey, culture matters. Well, Georgia beat Ole Miss. Kirby Smart, this is a culture win. Georgia won tonight. That, too, was a culture win because everything that could go wrong did go wrong. You had problems on the O-line. You had problems with guys dropping passes. You had Gunner was not sharp at times. He had some passes he'd love to get back. He didn't see the most obvious safety blitz. There was nobody in the A gap. This guy came running through that gap for 45 seconds. Gunner never sees him. Luckily, he gets the ball off moving forward. Gunner would like to have a lot of that game back. Defense gave some wide open plays, turnovers, but the culture never quits. They're hard to kill. All right, John, get on here and let's get Dayne out of here. I'm tired of hearing him talk.
Yeah. I wanted to get that rant out because
you got your rant.
Get John in here and class this up a little bit because
I don't know about that. Roddy brought me back down to earth a minute ago.
Yeah, we're gonna let him.
I'm gonna pump you up though, John. Like Roddy can do what he wants to. Like I'm used to that from Roddy, but like you should be on cloud 9 because your Georgia Bulldogs have won 5 in a row against Florida.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And that place, I hope every year too. That grass is terrible. I hope they go to artificial turf or something every year. That led to the first touchdown Florida when our kicker slipped.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why he kicked it short the first time. I don't know about. Yeah, he did. He fell down.
You know what they could do? They could
falling down there.
They could stop playing the game there. That's what they could do. Play it in Sanford Stadium and Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. I think it'd be fine.
And just raise the whole thing to the ground and build one on the other side of the river that's not cursed.
They're doing a spaceship renovation thing. It looks weird.
Hey, Dane, before you go, I just want to apologize to you. And this may only be a 7-day apology, but you've been saying all along about Georgia's overachieving and there's parity. I believe that there's parity. This team is overachieving. And I'll say this. Kirby Smart's the best coach in football. We already knew that, but I think this may be his best coaching job because if there's parity and there's talent spread out and what they're doing, I mean, it is pretty remarkable. I'll say that. I mean, there's plenty of things that you could say, oh, they did this terrible, they did that. We had a guy that used to be a wide receiver at Northern Illinois walk Monroe Freeling down for a sack, but I don't know what else to say about that. It's just. I mean, you could be Clemson, you could be Miami, and again, they're clearly not breaking the bank with NIL, and he's still getting these guys to play. So
they're paying a lot of money. You don't get Zachariah Branch to come here if you ain't got some cash. No, I understand. They're not doing what Miami.
What Ole Miss did last year, what Miami's done this year,
right? But they have done a lot in retention of keeping some guys, so that happens. But yeah, so I think you're on the way to the best coaching job that Kirby Smart and company have done. But I think right now that bar is last season because there's no way last season they should have won an SEC championship game. No way in hell they should have won the SEC based on the leadership of that team and how dysfunctional they were behind the scenes. That coaching staff kept that thing together with duct tape and paper clips, and it worked out and they were fine. But you saw all that go away the second that they got into.
I disagree. You also had 3 first-round draft picks on the defense. You had 4 offensive linemen get drafted, a couple wide receivers.
I mean, that's
they had more talent. You had a tougher schedule, but you had a lot more talent.
I'd still, even with all those guys getting drafted, I'd rather have this offensive line than that one last year.
Oh yeah,
even with all the drafted guys.
That's why I'm saying this year's coaching job is better than last year's because you.
But I'm saying that offensive line is more talented, they got more out of a less talented group.
I like this question. Let me interrupt real quick. This question from Chris Garcia here because you were talking about the mistakes. He says, "Take away the mistakes from this game, and what does this game look like?" It's a blowout. It's a blowout. You take away the mistakes. That first touchdown was a mistake in the coverage. That changes. You snap the ball too deep, and you lose a drive there. The Dylan Bell holding call, the Oscar Delp holding call, those don't, just simple mistakes. All of a sudden, Georgia scores, 38, 42 points. So anyway, go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
But
I'm going to slide out and let y'all chat.
All right,
Roddy, you could say that about every game in the secondary, though.
True.
Every week there's busts.
Yeah, that's fair. But I was thinking about not even the secondary, just some of because the normal secondary is not good. I mean, you saw Ole Miss score 5 touchdowns in a row on 5 drives, but watching the offense shoot itself in the foot over and over and over again, I'm like, okay, this defense gives up 20. Georgia only scores 24. Georgia should have scored in the maybe 42, but multiple drives where Georgia just was drop passes. Noah Thomas misses a block, gets his man killed on the screen. The next play they throw to him, it goes through his hands and gets picked off.
Yeah.
Number 1 receiver, Texas A&M. Yeah, there's a reason he wasn't playing early. Again, I'm not banging on. Later on, he redeemed himself 8 ways from Sunday. But my point is mistakes, missed block. Talk about jumping to catch balls where somebody was talking about, Zachariah Branch jumping to catch a pass when it gets to him. That was a situation where why are you jumping to catch that one, then letting it go through your hands, letting the other guy pick it off? And then he didn't even make the tackle. You grabbed his leg, but you didn't hold on. So,
yeah, I think this comes down to a 2-game season, in my opinion. I think next week they should win. Now it's 11 a.m. over there. It's going to be loud. You should win. You beat Texas, then you got a scrimmage against Charlotte. But I really think that they may be set. I know coach would say, well, we want to win the SEC. Well, yeah, I get it. But you're really setting up to be the first, the top team that's a non-conference champion. Who are you playing in the first round? A group of 5 team?
yeah.
I mean, you're probably setting yourself up pretty good, I think.
I agree.
But hey, let me ask you this. Do you think that there's a program, and I'm sure there is, we just follow this one closely, that has more players over a 20-year span that are just snake bit with injuries? Malcolm Mitchell, Trenton Sturtevant, Jordan Hall is it just seems like every 2 to 3 years there's a player that's just injured his entire career.
I'm sure it happens. But like you said, because we're hyper focused, people ask me questions all the time. Hey, what do you think about LSU this weekend? I'm like, I can't name 5 starters at LSU.
Right.
I can tell you the 3 deep at every position at Georgia. And it's like a Rain Man or something. I'm so hyper focused on this team. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on in the World Series.
Yeah.
I eat, breathe, live Georgia football. But I'm with you.
Yeah.
I had my guys go back and I said, find me how many guys at Georgia only played 2 years. To your point about guys that are injured. And I said, do you remember Alec Ogletree? He was pretty good, right? Oh, yeah. Remember he started out playing safety? First year, then Todd Grantham moved him up, said, look, if you want to make a lot of money, I need to get you closer to the ball. You're not a 6'3" safety. You're just, let me move you up. He stole somebody's helmet, some moped helmet or something. That got him suspended for a few games. Then he broke his foot. So due to suspension, something else, and the injury, he missed 11 games total for stuff like that. He left a year early. So he was here for 3 years. He only played 2 seasons, even though he was technically available for 3. There's so many guys like that, going back to Kwame Gathers and, so many guys that were just, you're right. They were just injured and never really came up. Dude, remember one of the biggest stories I ever broke at when I was working at ESPN was when Georgia had 3 running backs fail a drug test. And you had to play Richard Samuel in this Georgia-Florida game, and he gets hurt on the last play. And so they have to go to the next game against Charlotte or some terrible Northwest Louisiana, I think. And you had to play, I think Brendan Douglas got the start, something like that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but it was like everybody's injured and you're having to go down to walk on running backs. So, I'm with you. That's why I said when I wrote my column this week, I said, you say what you want about Stacey Searles. This has definitely been the best coaching job of his career.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they play well enough. But they are what they are. I think the whole team's like that. And again, I guess I've had an epiphany. Maybe it'll change next week when we show up and moonwalk. But I don't know. It's you never ever apologize for winning in that damn place down there. There's been so many drives I've made back from there just miserable, just miserable. And you just, from those stupid red pants to the Fatone bout, you all, a win down there, I don't care if it's a half a point.
I remember getting viciously yelled at. I went down on Thursday. On Wednesday, we broke the news that Fatone bout was going to start. Drove down on Thursday. Friday, I'm playing a round of golf at the worst public course in Jacksonville. And my phone is blowing up by people inside the program trying to tell me, no, hey, Fatone's not starting. I don't know where you got that. That's some BS. I can't believe you reported that. That is just terrible. Why would you do that? Why are you trying to hurt the program? He's not starting. I've been going to every practice. He's second, third string. There's no way Fatone bout is starting. I'm like, okay, well, I know other people that go to practice say he's getting all the snaps from the number 1 team.
Yeah.
And he goes up there and, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's just for folks that don't go to the Georgia-Florida game, you have a long drive back because it's not worth really flying down. And all day Sunday, when you're going through, you're coming up 15-1, however you go down, 75, whatever, you have to avoid every sports talk station. You have to avoid every ESPN recap. You have to avoid it. You basically need a book on tape, an audio book.
Something. Yeah, I know. Or just old preaching on Sunday morning just to
hit the gospel stations. And even there, they're like, I know you're in a bad place, Georgia fans, but
yeah. Well, I'll let you get some more people on, man. I appreciate you. And another shock to the heart maybe next week. Hopefully not, but
no, I'm with there. So Luke Barton says, don't let the winds cover up that Schumann and Cereals need to be replaced. Make Pittman an offer tomorrow.
Pittman ain't going right. Pittman's done. He's at the lake.
Yeah. It's honestly why he took that job, was to go home.
And I just think I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just think we need to be very careful about who we want to fire and all that. And I've been on that train before too. But like that Florida team, a dude got fired, and that team was good. Yeah. They've just had some.
They won 2 of their last 3 games.
Yeah, and they've beaten Texas. I just think, they're going to call for Dabo Sweeney's head, I'm sure, but I don't know about Cyril's. Maybe Schumann goes and gets a head job eventually. I don't know, but
so here's
at the end of the day,
Schumann is great, breaking down film and tendencies and stuff like that and drawing up a defense. But he is nervous, it seems, when you get him in front of the media.
Yeah.
And so imagine him trying to glad hand all these donors and boosters and NIL guys. Now, it can be done. I mean, just look at everyone said Steve Sarkisian was done, when he bounced back. And a lot of people said that why am I drawing a blank on the head coach at Oklahoma?
Lincoln Riley?
No, Oklahoma.
Oh,
from Clemson.
Not Venables.
Yeah, Brett
Venables.
Yeah, Brett Venables. Like, oh, no, Brett will never be a head coach, and hey, he could do it. So it's not just the glad handing, but there's certain guys that I think are always going to be in a position coach or an offensive or defensive coordinator and just make the jump to head coach. And I think when Schumann interviews, he just doesn't quite have that it factor that these teams are looking for. So I'm not saying he'll never take one, but he's just not that great. He gets so nervous in these interviews, or maybe it's anxiety, I'm not sure. And people that say Cereals need to be replaced, I'm like, the man has had, like you said, a team being snake bit, all the different injuries he's had. And the strength of this team so far has been its quarterback and its offensive line.
Yep.
Again, with all the injuries, what would they be like if they'd been healthy the whole time?
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe we wouldn't all be nervous and have these heart conditions.
That's it. Well, have a good one, man.
All right, man. I'll see you, John.
I'll see you.
I did want to mention our friends over at ASW. I'm sorry I didn't. I just kind of popped them on screen there. Folks, if you want to be able to afford getting rid of Glenn Schumann and Stacey Cereals and bringing in guys like Zachariah Branch, I'm just telling you to drink more. I'm knocking back the ASW bourbon here. It's the Hunker bourbon. Got the Hunker vodka there, which, only has about that much left in it. Parts of the proceeds for those bourbons and vodkas go to Georgia's NIL efforts. So I'm just telling you to have another beer for their sake. And while I'm talking about some of our sponsors here, I do need to mention a guy I spoke to right before I went to do the watch along show. I reached out to Bart Benton, and this is a guy who's absolutely wants to beat Florida with every fiber of his being. He wants to whoop people's ass in court for you, but I'm just telling you, this is a guy who was very gung-ho about this game. And he's much a realist. You know, he knew that that there was the fact that Florida would be playing not so much for the coach had been fired, but they knew that the entire outlook of their season would be different if they could knock off number 5 Georgia. And they also know they had lost 4 in a row, and Kirby had beaten them 7 times out of the last 9. So they wanted to be the team, even without their head coach. They could knock off the Georgia Bulldogs. Bart Benton's a smart guy. He called it before it happened. He said, this is going to be a slog. And it's exactly what happened. And sure enough, it's the same guy, that same sort of prescience, that same sort of insight. That's what he will bring to any case in which you call him and say, hey, Bart, I need some help. So reach out to Bart Benton. Be smart. Call Bart. All right. Yeah, there we go. See, Brown Guy 342 says he can be an alcoholic for the cause. I like that. I like that. T-Bob is only there. The recruit. I think you mean T-Rob Franklin. Yeah. I would not be surprised if we saw some changes on the defensive side, because I'm with you, T. Franklin. I don't know if we're going to talk about anybody being replaced. Who's your cornerbacks coach? Dante Williams, the guy whose cornerbacks at USC before he came here were just getting pillaged. I don't know that Georgia's cornerbacks. Ellis Robinson has a ball hit him in the hands. He could have had a pick 6. 5-star cornerback, number 1 guy in the country. Big play. I'm not taking anything away from him. When Georgia needed to stop, he came up big on that one. But that should have been pick 6 the other way. If we're actually looking at who needs to go, I can definitely see some changes on the secondary. Cereals can recruit. I mean, here's the thing. You saw Dontrell Glover, a true freshman, get the start. Juan Gaston comes in later on. Those are guys that Cereals recruited. Who really killed Georgia's offensive line is Matt Luke. If you go back and look at some of the Griffin Scruggs guys, some of the guys that he recruited were just projects and put Georgia's offensive line behind the 8 ball. Now, they haven't gone out and signed a whole lot of David Sanders or Amarius Mims or Broderick Jones type guys. But in the NIL era, that's become 10 times harder than it has ever been. So keep our staffing at must check back out there. Must champ out. Yes. That was what I was going to say about Glenn Schumann. He's great planning the game, but in game, it just seems like it takes them forever to make some adjustments. And what was the deal with taking the linebackers out of the middle of the field? 2nd and 20, nobody in the middle of the field. Quarterback draw picks up 26. Facing 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9, quarterback draw picks up almost the first down. Nobody in the middle of the field. I don't know about that. That kind of drove me crazy. 3rd level of this Georgia defense is really bad. Yeah, very fair. Hey, Bubby Dean there on the bus heading back to Fernandina. I'm assuming it's a whole bus full of folks. Let them know about the watch-along show. Tell them to join us. Tell them to hop on here and give us a live view of that bus. I love those party buses. New Paltz starts in a semi-road game. Yeah. There have been a couple times this year where Georgia's in an absolute wild environment, Auburn, Tennessee, and there were no false starts on the offensive line, no holding calls. The D-line's had some issues too, but nobody talks about that, Coach. Yeah, Trey, UGA 68, you're right. The D-line has had some issues. It's just I think it's a situation where Trey Scott almost gets a pass because they've been so successful. He's put so many guys in the league, and he's developed them. And I thought that, yeah, I mean, they're not getting home. They're not doing what the guys in the past have done. But the fact that Jordan Hall went down early in this game, and your Xavier McLeod's, your Elijah Griffin, Josh Horton, Namandi Ogboko also kind of came in and stood up and took over for him. All the guys will tell you that they are being the lumps of clay that they come in versus what they look like when they leave. It's tough to say anything bad about Trey Scott. It really is. I'm with you, but again, I think it's fair. Definitely, if you want to fire Schumann, you want to fire Bobo, you want to fire Cyril's, that's fine. But just use the same criteria for everybody. Don't just pick guys that you don't like because I'm not saying you don't like them, but just don't pick the guys that you heard other people talking about. Not saying that any of you would ever do that, but it's real easy to dogpile. Oh yeah, screw Mike Bobo because I heard other people don't like him. No, let's question Todd Hartley's tight ends. There were some plays there they should have made. Now, against Ole Miss, they did a great job, but this week it wasn't as good. Against Auburn, it wasn't as good. They missed some blocks. Let's question Josh Crawford, running backs coach. Why was Nate Frazier fumbling the ball so much to start the season? And remember, all this goes to Kirby Smart, so don't forget to question him too. I'm going to add William Carlin on here. William, how you doing?
Thanks for letting me in, man.
Come on.
It's great to be a Georgia Bulldog.
There you go. You won on a – it's great to be a Bulldog on Saturday night.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't care what anybody has to say about anybody. They won a damn good game. And I enjoyed it, every minute of it.
Yeah. You enjoyed that? My heart was in my chest the whole time.
Well, I mean, if it I would have been heartbroken. But coming out a winner, yes, I enjoyed the exhilaration, the excitement, the worry, in coming out on top.
Yeah, no, it's like a horror movie. It's
that's right.
You don't go into that room, and then they do, and then
stay away.
Stab, but then at the end, you see them walk off into the sunset, even though all their friends are dead. But it's yeah. I'm with you.
I mean, you were set up in the classic. You say trap game or whatever.
Yeah.
And. In fairness, I was at an event and didn't see the first quarter, and I listened to the second quarter in the car on the way home, and then they came out and scored, and I'm like, okay, we got this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what you think.
And then it just went, oh gosh, what in the world? That stop on 4th and 1. On the 18. I mean,
would you have kicked it there?
Huh?
Would you have kicked it there or gone for it?
If I was Florida?
Yeah.
No,
that has to be the first question Gonzalez gets.
I would have gone for it. I mean, they had been running it down our throat.
Same, 100%. I'm with you. I'm just curious as to what somebody who knows football like you would have done in that same situation. Because a lot of people.
I mean, I was like, okay, here's the game. Here's the play. We make it, we don't. And we made the play. And everybody's wanting to fire Glenn Schumann now, but I don't know who called that shift to the middle of the line right there that just stuffed what they had called. And because the whole defensive front shifted to the middle right before they snapped the ball.
And they bowed up.
And laid him down. Okay, was
military presses that those guys do? Oof.
Was it a catch or did it bounce off the ground?
So 3 of the angles that I watched, it obviously bounces. The question is, did it bounce off the ground or did it bounce off
his arm?
3 of those angles look like it bounces off his forearms. 1 of those angles is unclear. They call
the angle they had coming from behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it hit the ground.
That's the one I'm talking about. The rest, though, from the side, the way the ball comes down on his left side, it looks like
it looks like he caught it.
It looked like he caught it. But I'm with you. The one from the angle, it looks like it's on the
Okay,
inside.
so what I wanted to ask you, like I said, I was listening to it on the way home in the second quarter,
But what about the crap?
and KJ Bolden get kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
The radio announcers, Ziegler was like, "Yeah, no, that's not. There's no way that's targeting."
Yeah, it was.
Was it? Okay, so the radio announcers, they were like, Zaire, they're like, no targeting there, no way.
No, you can't. He had his head down.
Okay, if he hit the crown of the helmet, it's targeting, but like I said, I couldn't see it.
And then now here's the thing: the guy also drops his head too.
They mentioned that.
So yeah, he drops his head. So when he gets hit, it's not like he cracked him in the side of the skull. He hit him close to like his chest, high chest area, right?
Yeah.
So when that guy drops his head and the helmet comes in, he lifts it, knocks his head backwards. So they're going to look like it was a head-to-head collision, even though the other guy dropped his head. But if they didn't call targeting, hell, they call spearing. You can't just go in, top your head down, and put it in a guy's head helmet like that. I'm in the guy's chest. That's why they teach you, from when you and I were playing at age 5, put your head on his outside shoulder.
Yeah.
Remember the tackling dummy? And you're like, okay, we're going this way first, guys, then we're going this way. And you always had to put your head on the outside. And if you didn't do it, you had to go back and do it again. He lined him up and went straight through the middle of his chest with his head down. And as much as I hate it for KJ, but again, that's my whole point. You missed my rant earlier about what goes on in Jacksonville. Georgia makes mistakes in Jacksonville that they don't make any other time of the year. Drew Bobo has not had a bad snap all year.
That was I did get to see that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I've never seen the quarterback called for clapping. Happens in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was driving home and doing that, and they're like, enthusiastic clapping. What the hell?
And I get it. He's trying to make them, but I'm like, guys, this everybody does this because you're trying to draw them off sides. They know you're trying to draw them off sides.
That's the whole point.
They pulled Dylan Bell's face mask, and we're like, okay, there's a flag on the play, but I knew from where they threw it something bad was going to happen. Sure enough, holding on Oscar Dell. Bless America. So again, when things go weird, they go weird in Jacksonville. And every time I sit down to write a column, I'm like, this game is hard. And I said it would either be a butthole tightening game the entire way, or it would be a blowout. On that first drive, it looked like it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
3 and out. Georgia scores and gets a 3 and out. I'm like, okay, the route is on. And
so I'm at the event, and I checked the phone. It was like 7-0. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And I didn't check again for a while, but anyhow, it's great to be a dog.
Yeah. It is. And somebody, sorry, I already went past it, said Georgia's 3 points away from being undefeated. Very true. They are very true. They're also 4 or 5 points away from having 3 losses.
Well,
that's why these guys are Kirby.
We don't need to talk about that, but that they could have won that Alabama game, but we didn't, and we could have lost 3 other games, and we didn't.
And that's why when we're talking about the difference between Carson Beck throwing an interception in overtime.
Oh, he threw another one 5 minutes ago. Did you see it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean he lost the damn game with SMU throwing an interception on the goal line.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then the people that would kind of laugh about Gunnar Stockton being a good old boy, I'm like, look, when the games are this close, culture matters. And when Kirby came out in the spring, he started talking about fire, passion, and energy. It sounded like a Tony Robbins infomercial. You got to be gung ho, and I'm like, people aren't going to like this. People want to hear about solid football things. But there was a reason Kirby says I'm looking for guys who have this passion and energy. And remember, he said I'm looking for guys who can play championship football.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but a lot
And
of
an amazing, he's come up with all of these every year. He's come up with these sayings, these every year, and it's just so on point for what the team needs every year.
yeah.
And he's got a new one every year, and it's on point.
Yeah. And I like this. What Dogs 85 says, Beck never led the team. Correct. Now, he was the quarterback, but
He was the quarterback.
and you saw Gunner when he took off on that draw play, he dived head first.
Yeah.
Guys respect that, So there. Hey, let's bring on JC, if you don't mind sharing the screen with him.
Not at all.
I know he's not the most attractive dude, but we'll bring him on anyway.
He looks better than I do.
Yeah, well, that's a low bar too. Come on. All right, we got JC on here. JC, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I see everyone saying Dogs won. That's what matters, but I don't think it does for a team that has hopefully national title aspirations. I mean, you were a 4th and 1 conversion away from worst loss in Florida Georgia since Ron Zook. I mean, that defense.
You brought the
had
Zucker.
5 starters out on defense, both leading receivers out of the game. And 20 is just an absolute liability out there at safety. And I just think if we get into a game in the playoffs with a team that can stifle our offense like they did today, we make JV offenses look like All-Americans, because 20 is just letting guys fly wide open. And that's just a huge issue. And it's been an issue all year. And I don't think you can overcome that. So I was kind of high on the Dogs going into the bye. I'm a bit lower on them now because I don't think you can win with that free safety with the teams you're going to play. It's not winning football. It's not championship football.
Well, I mean, it is winning football because they've won. But you're right. It is not championship football. And all it takes is, I mean, if you watch that Texas game today and you didn't start reaching for the antacids, if you're watching Haynes King and Tech and you're thinking this bodes ill, I'm with you. And we had a lot of people in the comment section when we started the watch along show. I opened it with, Coach, I'm nervous about this game, and I'm always nervous right before kickoff. But I'm like, teams tend to respond when their coach is fired, and they match up well with Georgia. Georgia's got a good run game. They stop the run, But you're right. The weakness was their offense versus Georgia's defense. And, I mean, the next drive, wide open touchdown, one play, go 3 and out, then touchdown. And they were just gashing Georgia, guys out of position. Like you said, they did lose a bunch of starters, but Georgia only had 1 safety to begin with. Now, I'm not crapping on Kyron Jones. I've been very upfront about how I know that he's the best that Georgia has, and they missed on all the guys in the portal. And when he went down 2 weeks ago, they had to play Ja'Cory Thomas, who had already not, won the starting job. Then KJ Bolden's out, and you're going with Ja'Cory. You're basically down to your 3rd and 4th safeties, and you only have 1 good one. So, and then your corners, I mean, did anybody notice that Ellis Robinson was hardly playing? He's already been supplanted by DeMello Jones, who is already Ellis Robinson took over for Daniel Harris. So you're down to your 4th cornerback. And number 8, Janelle Aguero, a start. They love throwing on him in the star spot. So you can throw on anybody in Georgia's secondary. So I'm with you. The way that Haynes King's able to deliver the ball, the way he's able to run, the way Arch Manning looked today, not how he looked last week, when he had the concussion. Yeah, this is not championship football. It's winning. You won. But do you honestly think that they're going to win the rest of their games?
No, because they're relying on Gunner being Superman. And, I love Gunner.
He can never miss.
Great. But he had a average day today. I mean, clearly stepped below how he's played before. And a lot of that's because Colby was out and we didn't have many receivers outside of Branch creating separation. But you can't win hoping that Gunner's going to be Superman and save you every single game. It's just not sustainable.
Yeah, that's why I was very I was optimistic after the Ole Miss game, William, because Georgia scored every time they got it. But I was terrified the fact that so did Ole Miss for five straight drives. And I'm like, this is a who blinks first situation because you just can't count on your offense being perfect. They only have to screw up once. And today, Georgia.
Okay, Roddy. Today was a who blinks first situation.
Yeah.
And they blinked first.
Fair.
But
do you want to play every game like that?
That this is not a great world beating team, but by golly, the other team's got to be pretty much perfect to beat us, I think. And I think that the secondary got an awful lot of holes.
That's why I think they don't have to. I mean, Kentucky in the first half looked good. Kentucky, 74% of their passes, they completed them.
Maybe I'm just too much of a homer or whatever, but
no, that's fair.
I don't,
You're right. You were basking in the glow of victory over Florida, and you've been following them long enough to know how rare.
And I've been okay. I'll say this. See, I got out of college. The year I got out of college, I went to Florida game, and it was the first year Florida had beaten us in 25 years or whatever. It was the first year of Spurrier.
Oh.
So I lived through the 20-2, getting just hammered.
Yeah.
Just hammered year after year. All right, I was going to the game in Athens when Florida played. I had left the tickets at the house when I left, so I had to turn around and come back. And by the time I got to the stadium, it was the end of the first quarter, and everybody was leaving. And I'm like, oh, my God.
I didn't need tickets anyway. Yeah.
So I love a 24-20 victory over Florida, no matter of all the flaws we got.
I'm with you, William. But my point is what JC's saying is, yeah, you won that, but you win it by the skin of your teeth. And historically, it's a big deal. But this is a team that just lost their coach.
Okay. I went to the Sugar Bowl in 1980. We won that by the skin of our teeth. We won the Florida game by the skin of our teeth. We won a bunch of games by the skin of our teeth in 1980 season. Clemson, we returned a punt return to beat Clemson in 1980. We won a national championship with a team that was flawed.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I'm just saying.
JC makes a good point. You can win with flawed teams.
Before Kirby, we had one national championship from 1980, so we have one anomaly of a season. But how many years have we seen Georgia lose games that they shouldn't have lost, and it derailed their season? So sure, yeah, Georgia won close games in 1980, but it wasn't against a 3-win team with no coach. That Florida team was a really good team. That Clemson team was a really good team. So, I mean, I get it.
That Clemson team was crap in 1980.
I get it. I'm 33. I lived through the Rick years in 2000 through 2003. We lost those games, so we had no business losing. Terrence Edwards dropping the ball. But it's 2025, and this Kirby has brought excellence, so we expect excellence. And, this is a team that has national championship hopes, and you're just not going to beat top-tier teams like Ohio State or Alabama when it means the most if you're playing like this.
All right, and a counterpoint. That Alabama game was, that could have gone either way. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Top tier team. We lost it. Could have won it, but we lost it. And I'm not down. I understand what you're saying. As far as the Ohio State and Indiana, I haven't watched them play a game all year. I don't know.
Well,
But-
here's let me go back to this real quick. I think that Amari Carmichael makes a good point. Says, we've gone from I know we're going to stop them to I hope they make a mistake.
That's a good point.
So that to me kind of sums up where you are. Yeah, I mean, history doesn't matter. But you're not rolling out there with the confidence that, okay, I think that Quintavious Johnson is going to come off the edge 33, or Gabe Harris is going to come off the edge and get a sack. Because Georgia comes into this game with
Nobody gets a sack. Yeah.
Well, that's the point. So let's see. Do they have a sack tonight? No. So again, Georgia gave up 2 sacks. They have no sacks, so that keeps them at 8 through 8 games. Georgia's the only team. Georgia's dead last in the SEC in sacks. They have 8. Texas A&M has 32.
They're the only team in single digits in the SEC, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying being able to attack the quarterback, not being able to cover. When you look at what Julian Sayin is doing, when you look at what some of the other teams are doing, yeah, I mean, you're 7-1. We should not be picking the team apart that's 7-1. But JC's got a good point. Does everybody feel that you can still survive your way through not only the rest of this season, but the playoffs? I mean, you could be playing 3-4 games in the playoffs.
That's and
each week it gets tougher.
That's my point. If you're fine with Georgia just going to the playoffs and winning maybe 1 game, then sure, super happy with this team. But I want a team that wins the national championship. And if you can name me a national champion in the last 10 years that hasn't been able to get to the quarterback and can't cover wide receivers,
Yeah.
He's got a point.
If you don't have a defense, it's hard to win.
Defense wins championships. You're right, JC. I'm with you there.
I'm just trying to be positive and
I know. You're fine. And we need that positivity.
Yeah.
But this is the overreaction show, so we're going to overreact.
Yeah.
I like Gerald Clemenson 380 says, playoff starts, we cannot start off slow or we will lose for sure. I'm with him there, But then Corey B. Carter says we start off slow against Oklahoma and OSU. Yeah, he's right. A little bit better defenses there, Corey, but hey, history.
Yeah, they were.
So he's right. So I'm with him there.
I will say, we have a quarterback that can dig you out of any hole. Even with Gunner not playing his best game when we absolutely needed it, Gunner came through. I have the utmost confidence in Gunner running that offense, and that gives you a fighting chance. I'm not saying Georgia doesn't have a fighting chance.
Yes.
But you have Gunner at the helm, you have a fighting chance, and Bobo schemed up all the touchdowns outside of the Chauncey Bowens runs. Like that was Bobo that got you those touchdowns. Outside of that, receivers weren't really getting separation. So
can I talk about that real quick?
Yeah. That
Chauncey Bowens TD.
That was the best run I've seen all year.
It was a thing of beauty. And here's the crazy thing. If you don't do the watch along with Coach Donnan, you're really missing out because he called it about halfway. I mean, the guy took 2 steps and Coach was like, break it. The way they pinched in and all the traffic there, I'm thinking there's no way that's a 3-yard gain, not a 26, 33-yard touchdown. But Coach saw it as it happened, the way that they brought the edges in. And he's like, there's nobody in the middle. And he sees it the second it happens because he watches games different than the way the rest of us do. And shout out to Chauncey Bowens. And I said after the game, maybe right before it ended, this is why recruiting still matters. We have a lot of people say, well, recruiting doesn't matter. It just comes down to NIL. No, relationships matter because Chauncey Bowens was going to get a good NIL deal at Florida.
And he was going to Florida, yeah.
Georgia flipped him away from Florida. And that guy not only had that touchdown run, but he also got a first down that changed the outcome of the game. He killed Florida. And can you imagine him and Jaden Bow 1-2 punching Georgia tonight? If he was playing on the opposite side. So recruiting matters. And a great play call on that run for what Florida was going to do on that particular play when the way they brought in their edges. So, and then the final play that Gunner takes off to the right there, and it basically takes a knee before he goes
Takes
in.
the knee.
Why?
Yep. Like, why did he do that?
A 49 toss sweep to on the drive earlier, going back to freaking Little League. You know, I was like, that was a brilliant call. So I have issues with Mike Bobo, but not tonight.
Was about the spiciest.
I bet
Well,
Georgia,
Aaron Moore says, I feel, to your point, JC, he says, I feel the offense can score on
But it was
anybody.
good. I thought.
I said it on the Peachtree show on Sunday that I think Georgia has the best offense in the country, but most efficient. That's the type of offense that beats a defense like Ohio State, not a Ole Miss. It's an efficient pro-style offense like Georgia has.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Perfect for college. And here's the thing. Do you guys remember how different Stetson Bennett looked in year 1 versus year 2? He looked so clean. I mean, well, they went undefeated, completely through year 2. Gunnar Stockton next year. What will he look like? So, assuming he doesn't leave early.
No,
I don't think he's draftable. I don't know.
That's a good point. He may not be, but
And he can make $1 million staying another year. I mean,
Gunner looked like, especially that first drive, I said he looked like Wisconsin early Seattle Seahawks Russell Wilson. The way that he throws the ball, the way he moves, same size, shorter guy, quick, thick. Gunner comes back next year, and then he's going to get drafted higher than Stetson was. I'm just telling you. The guy plays, and he has some misses here and there, but the guy like from year 1 every other game that he plays.
well, it's the same show with Paul's not.
Speaking of misses, did anybody else feel like that long pass that was going to Dylan Bell? Dylan stopped running.
Yeah, if he keeps running, he got confused. Was what I Austin that was kind of in his way, and then he
have a couple.
So it just felt like there was. I'm like, I think Coach mentioned it's like maybe he didn't think he was going to throw it to him, but Gunner lays it out there, and it's a touchdown ball.
Yeah.
Hey,
It just felt like it's like.
Good.
And remember, early Colby Young did the same thing earlier in the year.
dish called?
So I'm not sure what the heck was going on with that one. But again, that's not something Dylan Bell ever does. He does it in Jacksonville.
I thought he played a great game, though. He had some big catches there, and
Oh, he did, dude. 4 touches, and I said to feed him to no end. But Eliza Hayes says yes. Caleb Peavy says 100%. Well, and here's actually a pretty good. Now, someone says, does Bobo make the call not to play McCrary all game? McCrary played. Remember, he was out there in the when they had 2 running backs on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
Was it him and Peanut?
Yeah, with them, they all 4 got.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. All right, we're going to bring on Ben too. Okay, here's it was Noah that stopped running the route in the Tennessee game. Was it Noah or Colby?
Sure.
I don't care. Noah caught a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, he did. So I'm happy for him, but he also cost you a turnover too. So he better have scored one tonight.
Yeah.
No, everyone says it's Noah, so it's my bad. I'm sorry for the Colby Young slander. I apologize. I just know it's somebody who should just stop running. I'm like, and here's the thing. I hope people understand now why we were saying through the first few weeks, where's Noah Thomas? I'm like, he ain't as good as the other guys out there.
That's what I'm saying. And what is Noah Thomas that Humphreys hasn't done or Dylan Bell hasn't done in college? I don't think he's shown that he's more of a consistent player throughout his college career than Dylan. So, I mean, everyone was saying he was going to come in now that Colby got hurt. I was like, no, it's going to be Dylan Bell get those touches. I mean, I've seen more from him in big games than I've ever seen from Noah. I mean, if Texas A&M wanted Noah to stay, they would have kept him. They got two guys that are much better than him, and it wasn't him saying, "Oh, I want a bigger payday." They said, "We'll see you, kid."
I mean, Noah's got 2 catches all year. I mean, they were 2 big ones, but that's pretty much it. And
dude, I'm glad he got it, but he is a liability blocking.
Yeah.
God, awful blocker. A lot of people, there's a lot of questions about McCrary. He got in there, but at the same time, Georgia was just not, again, they were in 3rd and 9 on average. Georgia's 3rd down play was 3rd and 9 on average. That is not when you put in Josh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Isn't that mind-boggling?
Yeah.
They were 3rd and 9, and they still completed 7 of 15. So they were almost 50%, despite the fact they were 3rd and 9. Now, granted, they weren't 3rd and 9 in each one of those. My point is
3rd and 9 or above. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's just bad. And we mentioned that Florida was one of the worst teams in the. Well, they were dead last in the SEC in 3rd down conversions. They went 2 of 11 tonight, and they went 0 for 2 on 4th down. So let's give the defense, a shout out for them going 2 for 13 on 3rd, 4th down. But they were pretty damn good on 2nd down.
Shout out CJ. CJ played a hell of a game like he always does. He covers up so many holes on that defense. And he's not going to get the credit, but without him, this defense would be completely lost, I think.
Oh, God, yeah. 13 freaking tackles tonight. And here's the thing. Yeah, I was going, don't touch him, CJ, don't touch him, CJ. I got my wires crossed. I was watching Raylan Wilson run on the wheel route down the field, and it was him that got the pass interference call. And
that was tough.
Yeah, so there you had 2 pass interference calls on that drive, and they score. I don't know. One of them, you didn't need the pass interference call. You could see them. They turn to Kirby, and Kirby screams at the was it Jacory, whoever got that pass interference call. I was like, you didn't need to touch him. But that gave them 1st and goal on the 2, and they just walked it in the next play. So that was a tough one. Wait, is Georgia Tech losing?
They're down 24-17 at half.
I like this one. It's a great question. Great comment from Delmar Decides. Kirby will play a wide receiver that can't catch before he plays one that can't block.
True.
That's so true.
That's so true.
That is so true. My God. I need to put that on a T-shirt. Yeah. I love it. Here's another thing. Landon Rolden. That's a touchdown. Why Georgia schemes the great go route, double move route for Talon Taylor and then Landon Rolden. They haven't played the entire game. You put them in there. You give them a go route. Why not throw that to Sokobe White?
That's the Talon route, exactly. And my thought was Landon is probably the guy replacing him where they have one route drawn up for you. But that was my thought exactly. I know Eddie from Ackworth, he was saying, why doesn't Humphreys get that route? But
yeah. Now, I get they will play different guys a different way. So you have your tendencies, and maybe you don't get that opener route if it's number 16.
Right.
But you put in 83, Cole Spear, 84, Landon Rolden, you can get that route. But, man. And Caleb Peavy's not Caleb Peavy, Corey B. Carter, he's right. He's going to be big. But when these games are on the line, it was the Alabama game. You throw to Talon Taylor. It should have been a touchdown. You know?
Back to we could have beat Alabama.
Yeah, again, that's you shot yourself in the foot. But I'm like, and that's nothing against Landon Roldan. I agree with Corey. He is going to be a superstar. He's really good. But damn, that drove me crazy. Hey, William, I'm gonna let you go and bring on.
Appreciate you.
Ben.
Thanks for the time.
F the Gators. I don't know who that is. So, see you, William. Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I always appreciate it. Real quick, before we bring those guys on, I do need to mention our friends at the Rogue Shop. If you guys would please use promo code Bulldogs10, because whenever we have these promo codes and our folks think about, hey, are we going to continue to stick with them? Are they going to continue to advertise with those guys? A lot of times they'll look at how many times the promo code is used. So I could have everybody in the state of Georgia order from our friends at the Rogue Shop, but if you're not getting the 10% off, they can't be certain that that we sent them to you. So please use promo code Bulldogs10 and get your totally baked Delta 8 gluten-free brownies, or get your Delta 8 THC gummies. A great sleeping aid or fantastic for chronic pain. You can get the pomegranate, blood orange, and apple gummies. You can get the tincture, which will also help you sleep. It's good for chronic pain. And they have the lemonade gummies, and they have the hot chocolate mix. I'm just telling you, these guys can get it to you any way you like it. And I know the folks over at the Rogue Shop. It's Richard and his wife, Charmaine. It's not this giant corporation. It's two people, and they make this stuff. I have mine. So, and I've got the Skittles. I'm just telling you, check out the Rogue Shop. You'll be very glad you did so. If you have chronic insomnia, like my best friend, now I'm starting to get insomnia, and trust me, these gummies have helped me out a few times. My aunt had I was telling folks on the board about my aunt was basically visited by the ghost of her dead ex-husband. She said she was wide awake. She said she could feel his whiskers on her face. She could feel the warmth of him. She could smell his breath. And he's saying, "Why haven't you joined me yet?" He's passed away. She thought she was having a mental breakdown, but she said she swears she was wide awake and that he was in the room with her, and she could not sleep. And I'm like, Auntie, I'm going to send you these. You are going to get some sleep. This is not going to happen to you again. So anyway. All right, let's bring on Ben Bachman and F the Gators.
Always F the Gators.
We'll do it in order. Ben, give me your thoughts on the game.
That was actually, honestly, that was probably the weirdest Georgia game this year, because I thought in the second half, until about that fourth quarter stop, Florida outplayed Georgia in the second half for a big chunk of it. And I was like, Georgia's games this year, they outplayed everybody in the second half all year long. And I was like, this game kind of feels different for the first time. And then that fourth down stop, it just everything shifted. I never felt like, okay, that fourth down stop, I'm like, okay, now Georgia's just, I've never felt one play really all this year go, okay, now they're going to win a game, especially when everything was trending away from them. So I look at this game, Roddy, and I go, the defense also, that was the most bizarre game for the defense, because you had a couple drives where you're getting 3 and outs. And oddly enough, Roddy, the one thing Kirby always gets criticized for on defense, for as great as his defenses are year after year, is the quarterback run. Outside of a couple quarterback draws, I thought Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen, when it wasn't just a quarterback draw up the middle when you had no linebackers there, which they were doing that, they did that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, on a second and 20, and he got 26 yards.
Which was pissing me off. But I thought for the most part, they were stopping the quarterback run for Lagway. And I was like, that's not a Kirby Smart defense. But then you look at everything else and you're like, yeah, they're not as good this year. So obviously this isn't a Kirby Smart defense. But I look, Zachariah Branch, I mean, that was as good of a game of wide receivers played for Georgia. And I thought Gunnar Stockton, despite that interception, which wasn't on him, Noah Thomas missed a block and then dropped that, which led to the interception. But then he redeemed himself later in the game. I thought Zachariah Branch played the best game for a Georgia wide receiver all year. I mean, he was balling out anytime you needed him. So I thought today's game was overall just a really weird one. But you take a win over Florida because they're house money. And today, the one thing I'm seeing, my last point is with college football day, you look at the slate right now. Michigan is only up by 4 points over a 2-win Purdue team in like late in the third quarter. Like that's what college football is now. Like week to week, you're not going to see these blowouts anymore. So like we used to come on here, Rod, year after year. It's like, okay, Georgia won by 28, but I guess the criticism is they sucked on short yardage, or we would like try to nitpick them. I remember one time against Vandy, they won by like 38, and we're like, yeah, but they sucked on like 3rd and 1 or something like that. I remember that's how we were nitpicking, and now it's like every game's going to be like this. So I don't think people should overreact to losing to a team with a losing record. It's a rivalry game, and it's a new era of college football.
And they did win 2 of their last 3. Kirby made this point early on. This is a team that has recruited really well. Did you see those boys on defense? Those are some Chilardos. They have some heavyweights. They've got a good quarterback. They've got 2 talented guys. They had a lot of people out. And people were saying from the beginning of the year, not just in the last few weeks, they're like, that game in Florida, they match up well with Georgia size-wise. The first thing that when they were talking to Gonzalez early on, he started mentioning Georgia's size up front on that offensive line. And I'm like, dude, don't sandbag us. We know what you have on defense. So don't try to play poor little Florida because you've got some good guys. But I guess we got to let KC, who's been sending us multiple super chats, he says, let Eddie speak. So, KC, thank you for the super chats. Folks, we do use those super chats for gear. I did buy a new mic to get Coach more comfortable. He didn't like the headset on, so I actually purchased a mic and a mic stand to bring it around to the side there. And we do use our super chats for production stuff. We don't just go out and buy a bunch of liquor, although that would be great. So if you do want to send us liquor money, we'll take it. But Eddie, give me your thoughts on this game.
Well, Roddy, JC, Ben, good evening. It's always good to beat the Gators, always. And I'll put this play that Chauncey Bowens did, if y'all will think back a little bit. Jarvis Jones stripping Jordan Reed, going in to score a touchdown to tie the game. Legendary play. Malcolm Mitchell streaking down to the end zone. Legendary play to beat the Gators. Huh?
Remember, he split
Yes, exactly right. And now we have Chauncey Bowens up there. Legendary play to break and they were crying on the sidelines. They were crying. And I was so thrilled to see that. I freaking hate the Gators with every fiber of my being. I am so glad that we beat those bastards. By the way, in a game we did not deserve to win. We did not deserve to win this game at all. Okay? Some things broke our way, but we will take it. Now, I will go back to what JC said because I think he's dead on right. Thrilled we won. I don't want a history lesson from the previous caller about how I went through it too, where Spurrier beat our ass, Florida owned us, all this kind of stuff. I don't want to hear any of that, okay? This team is flawed. Our aspirations now under Kirby Smart are for a national championship, okay? And Ben, you just said a minute ago, I heard you say, well, look around college football. They're not blowing people out. What did Ohio State do today? They did not.
Late in the third quarter, it was a tie game.
What was the final score, Ben? They beat that.
Yeah, they beat their ass in the fourth quarter. And Penn State didn't have
a head coach.
That game was
Penn State lost to an 0-4 UCLA and got 40 hung on them. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about Ohio State. That's the standard right now. We are not even close to Ohio
They beat
State.
Texas by a touchdown, the same one that Florida beat. What are you talking about?
How many weeks ago was that? How many weeks ago was that?
They scored 14 on Texas. Texas let up 40 by Mississippi State last week.
Yeah, JC and I are shaking our heads. He's with me on this, 100%. You think Texas is going to be a walkover when they come into Georgia?
Who is Ohio State beating that's
Hell
impressive?
No. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
That's the point you're making, though.
It doesn't matter. Our aspirations are higher. This defense is letting people like DJ Lagway look good, and he's not good. This Florida offense is not good, and we made them look good all day long, and it's not. It's a problem. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say, if you were to even use an argument, I would rather use Indiana because they beat Oregon by 10 on the road. Like, that's more impressive than what Ohio State's done. It's beat nobody this year. But my point about
I would agree. That's an impressive win.
But I look this year and I go, there's really, you bring up Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State's been all that dominant. I don't think that there's been that many dominant teams this year. You look, Ole Miss is struggling with South Carolina right now. Ole Miss, lost here, and they barely beat LSU, who we know now LSU are chumps. It's like that now. There's a lot of one-possession games. Tennessee and Oklahoma, I think it's a tie game right now. The games are going to be tight because the rosters are a lot closer. Like when we talked about Florida, they're one of the most talented, like losing teams like in the country. So like you're going to have to deal with that now is my point. Because how many teams in the past used to say Georgia, Bama, well, Clemson for like 3 years. And like there might have been like Ohio State. That's it. Who were like dominant teams. And now you look at, I don't see any team that just, I look at and go, yeah, slam dunk national champion. I don't see that anymore, Eddie.
Yeah, I want to hear JC's thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tired of Florida's so talented. They were out their 2 best receivers and 6 starting guys on defense. And I mean, you compared us to Michigan. We should not be anywhere in comparison to Michigan. Texas A&M just beat the brakes off of LSU. I mean, I get it. There's close games, but this Florida team, they suck, and they suck with no coach. And it wasn't a good game. They were a 4th and 1 away from losing that game. They won it. I love it. So glad they did. But which safety is going to cover the Ohio State receivers? Who's going to get to Mendoza? How, Texas A&M right now, I don't see how we beat them right now either. So, my aspiration is national championship. And so I get it. There's not a lot of great teams, but there's 3 teams that I see right now. If we played them right now, we would be in trouble. So we got to figure something out there.
Well, I do want to walk you guys back from the edge a little bit because I take the Georgia-Florida game as an outlier. Okay. When have you seen Drew Bobo snap a ball 20 feet down the field, past the quarterback? When have you seen Brett Thorson shank a punt? Weird things happen in this game that don't happen the rest of the year. That's just my take on it. It's I'm nervous. I'm nervous about it, but I do think that you have definitely a puncher's chance with this offense. I think that you can definitely get there. I am worried. I'm with you. I'm worried about the defense, but I also think that when I look at Ohio State and I look at Indiana, I don't think they face this offensive line and Chauncey Bowens. Give me Gunnar Stockton.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just mauling these guys driving down the field, and you get the first half that you saw where Georgia had the ball. 20 minutes in the first half. So they do have the ability to control the line of scrimmage, control the ball, and cover up for the defense. But you're right. No one's going to pressure Mendoza. No one's going to cover Jeremiah Smith. It's just, but you could score on them every time you get the ball. So you're going to have to force them to be perfect too, because your offense could do what you did against Ole Miss and put it in the end zone every time.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough with that. You got my point, and I think JC kind of agrees with me a little bit that our aspirations are higher. But let's talk about some positives. Zach Branch, I mean, JC said it on our text thread. He deserves half a touchdown when Noah Thomas caught that ball. Zach Branch is just absolute money for this football team. And that, yeah,
2 guys converged on him.
Huh?
2 guys converged on Zach Branch.
I know. But I think it was James. You may have been saying that Noah Thomas, he's not been that guy. That was a hell of a catch on that touchdown play.
It was. That was
a really tough contested catch. So you got to give him that. I'm just glad he made the catch. So, and what you just can't say enough about Gunnar Stockton. I mean, this team is Gunnar Stockton. He is amazing. He's a leader. He picks you up when things are going wrong. He never stops fighting. He's just incredible. We watched Carson Beck throwing it all over the place, throwing picks today, and Gunnar's our guy. I mean, he's just amazing.
As John Bailey, 1206 says, I have seen Gunnar throw some bad passes. Again, that's why I say this game was an outlier. He had some bad throws today. Now, he went 20 of 26, 20 of 29, which is a 69% completion rate, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, which we everybody knows who's watching this. It wasn't his fault on that INT.
It's not an INT.
I hate the INT being given to the quarterback when it goes through the wide receiver's hands. It has to be a different category, it's 2025. We've put men on the moon. We've shot drones into the sun, and we can't come up with a new thing for tip balls that are turned over to the opposite team. We can't come up with a different classification. It drives me crazy. But for all of his accolades that we've given Gunnar Stockton, and he's getting better and better each week. The way he was looking downfield, the way he's looking guys off. I thought he had a great game. There's one or two bad passes there that he hasn't made this year because it's Jacksonville. I'm telling you, that stadium's cursed, man.
Well, you say it's Jacksonville, but it's also the pressure the D-line was putting on him. He was harassed all day. He was getting hit.
They did get in. Again, Chilardo's on defense.
I mean, he was totally rattled back there, and he kept us cool. So,
yeah, you're 100%. What was it? I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on this. We had a little Schadenfreude earlier in the show about the exact same time that Gunnar Stockton was throwing that first touchdown.
Oh, Beck.
Carson Beck was throwing an INT in overtime. And that one wasn't tipped, from what I understand.
No, it was not.
And, Dayne is a very nice guy. But, boy, he's going all in on the pettiness, just freaking attacking Carson Beck. And you were saying this team is Gunnar Stockton. And we talked about the connection those guys have and how much the way he looked and found Zachariah Branch. Shout out to Zachariah Branch, 10 catches, 112 yards, a lot of yards after contact. But the leadership could not be more different. If Georgia was playing the same way, if they were sitting at 7-1 with Carson Beck right now, but this defense, nothing changing, the defensive issues that JC brought up, you would have to be a hell of a lot more nervous about the rest of the season with Carson Beck under center than with Gunnar Stockton.
Roddy, that run game would be way worse. I mean, I think Gunnar Stockton is one of the main reasons this run game's way better. Now, actually, I did want to bring up this point earlier, Eddie, that where Chauncey Bowens is committed to, right? Georgia flipped him from the University of Florida. So that was actually kind of a cool thing. But I look and I say Gunnar Stockton, like the vibe of him just from the fan base and the team and everything when he's at quarterback compared to Carson Beck is totally different. Because I said a while ago, Carson Beck literally said in an interview, which was the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that his favorite sport was baseball, his dream school was Florida. The only reason he played football is because he got a scholarship and he went to Georgia because it's the biggest brand. He didn't care about Georgia the way Gunnar Stockton is. Gunnar Stockton, he's from Rabun County. He's in front of 400 people is where his city is. He drives a truck that has 250,000 miles on it that's like 50 years old. You look at it, he feels like Georgia. Like the team resonates with him. And you could tell that guy, I remember there's a picture of him, the Rose Bowl when they beat Oklahoma. He was in the bleachers. He was at the top row watching that game. He flew across the country to see that. So you feel that this guy loves Georgia and his teammates rally behind him. And Carson Beck, you never got that vibe off of him. He's going to Miami during, bye weeks and stuff. Like that's not the Georgia quarterback. That's not a Kirby Smart quarterback.
Yucking it up on the sidelines while getting their ass kicked by Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, don't smile on the sideline, dudes.
Nope. That's bad. That's not good.
Dude, what was more cringe, that or Jake Pope cheering with those guys after the game?
Well,
I think Gunnar. I think Beck on the sideline was worse because he's supposed to be the leader. I mean, who the hell is Jake Pope?
Don't disrespect Trent Smallwood's favorite player of all time.
Sorry.
Hey, JC, Eddie. We have a group chat. We have multiple group chats at UGAsports.com. Our boy Trent, and I don't want to rat him out, but he warned us early on when Jake Pope came on because Jake Pope goes to Buford, and that's Trent lives in Flowery Branch. He's over at Buford games all the time, and he warned us what was coming with Jake Pope. So when this stuff happened, it's just anytime we can make fun of Trent about Jake Pope, we do. So I apologize. You guys got caught up in this long running inside joke, but you remember, I mean, the guy had to come out and apologize after the game. And I'm like, he's not the one that should be apologizing. It should be your quarterback on the sideline who's grinning when they're getting their teeth kicked in by Ole Miss. So I'm with you, Eddie. I think that was a guy who should not. And I get you don't want to. And Kirby doesn't say a damn thing. He made Jake Pope go out and issue an apology, but he didn't make his quarterback, who he handled with kid gloves. And then the minute Carson Beck gets hurt, he stops talking to the team. They have no idea what's going on. I have people from inside the program texting me saying, how did you know he was going out to California to get a second opinion? We don't know that. And I'm like, well, I can't tell you who my sources are, but check with him. They're like, oh, yeah, he did go out to California to get a second opinion. Thank you for tipping us off. They're reaching out to a thinking journalist to find out what's going on with their quarterback. That's not a good situation. He disappears. And I know for a fact that Kirby hasn't spoken to him. And then Kirby has to go on ESPN and they're asking, so how's Carson doing? He goes, well, he's coming back from it. You know, we hope to have more information soon. And I'm like, Kirby has to go on TV, and I'm not lying, but he has to gloss over the fact that his quarterback's not talking to him.
Yeah.
Well, Roddy, go ahead and let Paul come in. I'll head out. I got a screaming infant there, and I'm getting the stare from the wife that, time to log off and
the death stare. Are you getting that death stare, JC?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, JC, thanks for being with us, man.
Go, dog. Talk to you next time.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
Hang on. Let me get my mouthpiece in.
Put on your jock strap and your cup, too.
You need to bring on that guy from Hawaii again, just for Paul. He needs to come on here.
I'm holding up my pants here because we're bringing on.
I can't hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
you. We can hear you fine.
I cannot hear.
Oh, my God. This is off to a great start.
Yeah.
Let me come back.
Paul.
This is bad.
Former producer can't even get his sound right. What the hell, Ben?
Y'all want to know why we fired Paul? That's exactly why we fired Paul.
Yeah, we defunded Paul.
Yeah, we're like, Paul doesn't know.
Hey, Ben, can this team win out?
Can they? Yes. Will they? I would think they win at least one versus Texas and Georgia Tech. I just last year they were 10-2.
Did they split those two?
My guess would be they split. They're capable of beating both those teams. I mean, Texas right now in Texas this year, it's one of the it's literally week to week. That's been my earlier point. Like, you just don't know. But I don't think they lose to Mississippi State. Their defense is a joke, so they'll beat them and Charlotte, obviously. But
Charlotte,
I think 10-2 would be my best guess, but they can go 11-1.
Here's my question: if they split those two, what is the better win?
I'm going to go Tech just because they're.
I was going to say the same thing.
Because number one, they're a rival. You don't want to lose to the in-state team, and if they're ranked in the top 10, I'd rather beat a top 10 team there.
And if they're undefeated, which they very well could be, right?
And at that point, I don't want to play in the SEC championship game at that point. So
no.
Paul, can you hear us?
Yeah, I couldn't, but I could definitely tell you guys were talking shit before, but I couldn't hear it.
Well, you heard us bring up Big Pope and Trent, and you instantly came on here.
It's my two favorite people in the world, Ben Choppy Bachman and Eddie from Ackworth, in the same place. This is unbelievable. I don't know. This is like 7 layers of hell.
Yeah, I know. Roddy's just a POS up in the corner.
Just screw you, Paul.
No, it's a little facetious about you two guys.
You did say two favorite people.
But no.
How are you?
That guy Roddy brought on years ago from Hawaii at like 1 a.m. just to piss you off. Still, your favorite person with the samurai sword, wherever he was walking around with.
Dude, I think that was.
Paul texted me. He was so pissed. I've never. Paul extremely pissed.
I think that was my final straw for the POS, dude. Roddy's had me out here at 2:30 in the morning with a dude that's high in Hawaii with a samurai sword. Yeah,
Hawaii dog. I know you're listening. Jump on.
No, but I'm jumping off, brother. I'll be out of here. You don't pay me anymore. I'm gone, brother. I don't have to stay. No, man. I don't know what this team is, man. I think Kirby said it best. Cardiac kids, right? They They don't give up. But man, it really frustrates you to watch this football team. And I said this to a few guys, and I said, what's been more fun to watch though? The ass whoopings that you gave in 21 and 22, or this year where you're on the edge of your seat. And I think it might be this year. Every game, there's something that goes their way. Like what was it 2 weeks ago with the Josh McCray, where you thought he was stuffed behind the goal line, and he comes out on the other side.
4th and 1.
You have that Chauncey Bowens run tonight that is going to live in infamy, just much like the Malcolm Mitchell touchdown. We still remember that.
Exactly what Eddie said.
Yeah. I don't listen to what Eddie says. That's probably
nobody does, but it's okay.
But no, it's
obviously
that's one of those runs. It wasn't just a touchdown run. It was how it all happened, and like it's a moment in history. You're gonna look back on this team, and I know you guys were just talking about Texas and Tech. Which one would you rather win against? I think you're probably going to have 2 more games. Man, I miss Gary, dude. I'll come back if Gary's around. I miss Triple G, dude. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, he hasn't been on much.
He has. Yeah, I haven't seen him all year.
He's killing me.
Yeah, and Paul Maher. What is this, Ruddy? What are we putting up on the screen? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? This is crazy. The disrespect is unbelievable.
No, they love you, Paul. No, but Paul, can I just bounce off what you're saying?
Please do. Yeah, I'm just rambling.
I get what you're saying, that this is more fun, and you're right. I think it is, but it's not fun in the moment. When we're watching these games in the moment, if you'd have texted me that during that 4th quarter, I would have thrown my phone across the room, because that wasn't fun until we won, and then it was fun, right? And
no, it was fun. Hey, go back to what Ben said.
We got
on that 4th and 1. Remember, they're looking at 3rd and 2, and you stonewall them twice. And once you stonewall them, you're like, "Hey, we just won." You knew. I mean, the game's still not in hand, but you knew the minute that they stopped them on that 4th and 1, you're like, "Oh, okay, that's it. Their run is over." And I think that Paul nails it with the fun. When they do those montages of great moments, what is that 4th down play to London Humphreys against Tennessee?
Oh, it's top 10. I mean,
you got that one. You got the Chauncey Bowens one. You got the McCray 4th and 1.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be a play from Auburn like that I'm not thinking of.
I mean, the Superman. I mean, you have that.
Superman in the end zone. Yeah.
I mean, so you have all these plays.
You're right. You have these moments where you're like the release. So a good book. Yeah. I'm reading a book right now from the guy that wrote Red Rising, Pierce Brown, and it's just
pictures.
No, it doesn't have pictures. It's a long book.
Pop-up book.
I was like, Dave, you read a book.
Well, I'm listening to a book when I walk my ass off. And it's Red Rising, fantastic series. I highly recommend it. And
this is the book Roddy just gave me.
Yeah. the protagonists are always getting the crap kicked out of them.
Oh my
and
God.
then all of a sudden everything becomes magically better. And I'm like, just quit torturing. The guy thinks that good writing is making all of his protagonists suffer through battles and torture and stuff like that. And I'm like, this. And then when they eventually win everything, you're like, you feel like you've been through a ringer. You know, I'm like, I kind of miss the old. Yeah, I'd have been happy winning 45-7.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, but again,
I would have enjoyed that.
But again, the 45-7 victories against, let's say, in years past,
you don't have those moments, Paul. You don't have those moments.
Name me a play from the Florida game 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It's not there.
You're right.
Right.
That's
a good, great point.
And so there's always 2 ways to look at it. Is this team near as talented as it needs to be, or we thought it was going to be? No. is the secondary. Oh God, the secondary. I mean, it's the battle of the wounded back there, plus 3 safeties that they took in the transfer portal that can't play. Zion Branch gets a defensive pass interference in the end zone. He doesn't have to touch the guy.
Right. I mean, that was terrible.
Kyron Jones was coming on, but Kyron Jones was a project. He was a halfback.
He was your 3rd or 4th choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good. What?
Then was your 8 games, or your 7-game starter.
Yeah, he was a guy that Georgia took on a flyer and said, "Look, we might can do something with this kid. If not, then he'll portal out and we'll find somebody else." And he's starting for you, and he goes down. So then you're back to Ja'Cory Thomas and we haven't even seen Daniel Harris. Like, how far down the depth chart do you have to be when you actually started at Georgia for multiple games? It's a weird team. You have multiple freshmen on the offensive line, but they somehow look better than last year's offensive line that had multiple NFL draft picks on it. You have a cough. You have a cough button, Eddie. Are you really that professional? That's unbelievable.
I learned it from you, Paul. I learned.
You got $700 mic.
Because you
Paul,
thought
I will say that you brought up fun.
Paul, and it wasn't. You remember that?
Oh, when I was just ripping ass, on the middle of the show, and I thought I was muting myself.
Oh God, I didn't mute that.
Yeah, that was me. That was my fault. Yeah.
What drives me crazy was when Paul would pee in a cup and you could hear it. I'm like, dude, you got to mute that, man. Come on, killing me here. At least it can't be plastic. It's got to be glass. Come on.
That's when you knew I was.
Paul have an issue at a hotel once, Roddy, with soap.
Oh, come on. This is unbelievable, dude. This is unbelievable. There's no reason for this, Ben. There's absolutely no reason to do this.
Oh my God, Roddy's falling out.
It's Roddy.
No, I'll tell the story. Because I was Roddy's. So no, let me set the stage for this. Actually, you know what?
Roddy is beat red.
Yeah. So I met Roddy. I met Roddy inside of a Walmart on the east side of Athens, and I went up to him. I said, "Hey, are you Radi Nabulsi?" And he looked at me like I had 4 eyes. I said, "Man, I follow your recruiting stuff. I want to get into this type of stuff." He said, "Cool, man. And let me take your number down." So he takes my number down. 6.5 months go by, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, this is Radi Nabulsi. I need an intern. I'm about to, take over UGA Sports." I said, "Sure, sounds good to me." And then about 2 months later, he's like, "We got this 5-star challenge. You can go interview all the top dogs, and we're going to DC, or no, we're Baltimore." So we go to Baltimore, and somehow I got paired up with Roddy to stay in his room. And I don't know, I was 23 years old, maybe.
That's because Trent was trying to mac on that girl from Texas.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. That was Auburn. That was Auburn. I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. Yeah, I remember that. And I get in the shower, take a shower, and I use lotion instead of soap, and I didn't know. And I got out, and Roddy, I don't remember exactly what I said to you, but Roddy almost had a heart attack.
This soap will not lather up. There are no bubbles. I put it all over my face, all over my hair, all over my body. I used the rag, and I could get no bubbles from this soap. This hotel is garbage. They got the worst damn soap I've ever seen. Like,
and Roddy looked at me.
It's a bottle of lotion.
Oh my God!
The dude is showering with cocoa butter, and he wondered why it won't lather up.
And somehow Roddy kept me around for.
The fact you can't get bubbles in the shower.
Yeah,
B,
you stayed around.
Use soap, goddammit.
Yeah, and then 10 years later, he's like, "Hey, you want to stick around, and just hang out?"
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was my first impression with Roddy, and it wasn't great, but we made it through.
Like, why did I bring this guy as an intern? He can't read lotion versus body wash. So
and then he trusted me with his $40,000 camera when he started the watch along show and was like, "Hey, go shoot pictures." And I was like,
"You did a good job."
I did. I got some quality shots on my phone still that I have that just stroke of luck, but it's all in fun and games. Back.
Hey, can we get back to the Georgia game? I asked Ben. I don't think you were on. Can this team win out, Paul?
They're probably favored in every game, right?
That's
So-
not what I asked.
Well. So what you're asking though is, can they win every game? And if they're favored for every game, then yes, they should. They could.
Will they win every game, Paul, in your opinion?
The voice raising is concerning. That shows anger
It's just-
issues.
Y'all play these semantics. Ben did the same thing. Just answer the damn question. Do you think this team's going to win the next 4 games? Yes or no?
I'm doing you like the Matt Austin guy did on the instant replay tonight. Did you guys hear that? That was
that was great.
Yes.
Give us an answer. Oh, my wife's calling.
he literally you could hear him too, because they were like, so you're saying, Joe Tessitore, so you're saying you think it's not a completion. He's like, well, and then he just stops, and then there's this awkward 20 seconds of silence, which in TV, Roddy's done it before. You're getting yelled at in your ear, dude. You're getting yelled at. Somebody talk, and Joe Tessitore's like, nah, man, I'm letting this thing right out because this joker just left me on red, basically, and didn't answer the damn question. But no, I think they can win out. Yes.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah. And then they went back to Matt Austin again, like after that, and he still didn't want to give like a confirmed answer on that one, the catch underneath the arms or above the arms. He's like, well, shit, man, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to do it. Yes, they can win out.
Okay.
There's your answer.
Do y'all think the rest of the nation once again looks at Georgia and says they're the luckiest team on the planet? That incomplete pass, the fumble / forward pass, we got the benefit of the doubt. I think from the outside, most people that are cheering against Georgia are like they're the luckiest team on the planet.
Well, I think Georgia has taken on the Alabama of everybody hated Bama. You wanted to watch Bama, and Georgia fans still do because they're still Georgia's kryptonite. But the rest of the world, the rest of the country, it's Bama. Like, it's Kalen DeBoer. It's not Saban anymore. Kirby and Georgia have become that team that people love to hate, and that they want to see Georgia lose every game. So yes, absolutely, they think that Georgia's the luckiest team in the world. That the refs are out there. You see Danny Cannell tweet out, "Oh, Georgia needs to be in the playoffs. That's why that call got reversed." Shut the hell up, dude. Like, no, it wasn't.
Well, Danny Cannell,
garbage.
He's
like
total douche.
But but yes, to answer your question, yes, they're all wanting Georgia to lose every game. That's bottom line.
Also, what adds to that, when folks feel that Georgia gets preferable treatment from the refs.
Absolutely. I mean,
go back to that Auburn game. Hell, even On3 called the worst call so far this year was the goal line deal with Auburn as the number one messed up call, and I'm like, that one was fine, but they asked the fans what was the worst call, and they're all like, "Oh, it was Auburn. Obviously scored on that one," which is not true. But to your point,
I mean, Georgia might have scored on that one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, really, that takes sticks away from Georgia.
The point is, when Paul says, people want to see Georgia lose, they're 2-time national champions, and every time that Georgia's in one of these, knockdown, drag out battles, the ratings are through the roof. People tune in. You want to see Georgia lose. If you told me right now that Ohio State was losing, I would tune in and be like, "Ooh, yeah, let's watch it." You love to watch the mighty fall.
Well, hate watching is
it's an absolute thing. So I'm with you
hate
there.
watching is a big time thing.
But Eddie, I don't think it's people feel that Georgia's lucky, because I don't think that they give them.
Really?
No, I don't think the fans believe Georgia's lucky. They're just like, they believe that Georgia, when Kirby said it, they're hard to kill. They make the plays. It's tough to point to any, like, even with that game against Auburn, they're like, "Oh yeah, well, Kirby's doing the timeout thing, and but he says he's clapping." Or, the ball passed the line of, past the plane, and Georgia wound up with it. That was in the first half. Georgia put up 20 unanswered points. It's not like
the rest of the rest of
it felt like there were numerous times that Alabama was given the game at the end, which increased the hate. But you also saw Tua go off on people like, "Oh, look, they're trailing," and then Tua just scored 21 unanswered points, or Mark Ingram just ran a 98-yard, touchdown. So I don't think that people feel that Georgia's lucky. They feel that Georgia's wounded, but still very, very dangerous. And that Chauncey Bowens touchdown run shows that you can back Georgia into a corner. Again, the defense is not good, but facing 3rd and 2 and you stonewall them twice.
By the way, did Gunner go up to the line of scrimmage and call that play? I mean, it's hard to tell, but it looked like he went up to the line of scrimmage and made a second call to get him into that.
I want to say
I rewound it and watched it. It looked like
I want to say there was something in the group chat that said that yes, he Dash I think said that, and it's in an article probably that yes, he checked that play.
That's what I thought.
Paul, you brought up having fun. Like, is this team more fun when it's blowing people out, or is it, more fun when you're winning these close games? I will say this: the offense is the most fun offense since Kirby's been the coach. Outside of maybe 2022 is the only other one that's an argument. That's probably a better offense. But you look at this year, given the expectations, and because Gunner was an unknown versus Stetson, who was a known, and Bowers, who we knew was the best tight end probably ever in college. This is the most fun offense I think Georgia's ever had.
Dude, watching Zachariah Branch, Georgia hasn't had a wide receiver like him.
The joystick, man.
Oh my God, it's just so and he's not he'll break off some big ones, right? But it's the 7 or 8 yarders that he gets on a screen that should be stopped within 1 to 2, and he just makes a play. And I also want to go on record. You can go back, whoever's watching this right now. Chauncey Bowens was my guy. Nate Frazier got all the smoke freshman year. I said, look, Chauncey Bowens is the guy. There's multiple tapes on here.
Great job, Paul.
And I knew when he flipped from Florida.
Like perennial backup.
No. I when I watched his tape, I don't get blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. That was mine. And
but I like the way they're doing the rotation with Nate Frazier starting, little Peanut in there, and then Chauncey came in later in the game when the.
Here's the problem, though. The first half, the first half, Cash Jones got 80% of your snaps.
I know. I didn't.
And I'm not a Cash Jones basher. I'm not. Thank you for what you've done for the program, but you just have to at this point develop some of those other guys to be able to do what he does.
I agree.
And he can get you into the right. He can get you into the right things. He can help. He took on a block when Gunner got hit by that safety. He didn't pick up that safety, but he had to also take
15 yards down the field. I don't know how he didn't.
But he also had to take on a damn offensive lineman. Cash Jones did.
No, I know.
And so I mean. It's just the first half, you didn't see a bunch of that. And, I mean, you look at it, should they have won this game? I mean, let's be honest. Should they have won this game? I don't think so.
No.
But there's 3 or 4 games this year. Ole Miss, they shouldn't have won that game.
Here's the thing. In a game like this, they're trending so that they shouldn't win it. But unless the other team makes more plays or the refs gift it to them, then they should have won. They were trending towards losing this game. Then they get a stop, and then Georgia drives the field. Georgia was doing everything to shoot itself in the foot. I mean,
no doubt.
Penalties.
That is
had all year snaps.
That happened with Bama, Paul. I mean, they dropped it. Taylor's the drop. In
that's a no. I think
the worst punt of the year.
I think Radi hit it on. I think Radi has hit this season on the head. We haven't seen this many. We haven't seen Georgia shoot itself in the foot this many times ever in a season, and somehow they're still able to come back and win, which is crazy to me. Because Roddy's right. Every game, you're looking at it, you're going, it's blown coverage. Turn your head around.
Turn your head around.
Turn around.
Don't stop running on this route. If you keep running, the ball will hit in the hands. Dylan Bell, Noah Thomas. You know,
maybe not put the true
don't let the ball
freshman
go through your hands there.
Where's CJ Wiley?
Maybe don't.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Landon rolled in there. I didn't understand that.
Maybe don't put the true freshman Talon Taylor in against Bama to run the go route. You know, maybe trust them. Maybe trust Zachariah Branch to do that for you. Like there's things that they've shot themselves in the foot, but then I don't know how they've been able to come back and win. So to your point, Eddie, you asked me if they can win out. Yeah, I mean, they can. Yes, every game there's going to be I mean, shoot, it feels like 5 to 7, maybe even 10 plays where you're like, this doesn't look like there was times tonight where, honest to God, I was like, this looks like a Mark Richt team. No offense to Mark Richt, but
Yes.
it looked like a Mark Richt team.
Yes.
But then at the end, it's a Kirby team because you got Chauncey Bowens breaking out and you got your defense stepping up on 3rd and 2. It's just it's a fun game.
We were getting manhandled most of the game, were we not? I mean,
but then you also the conflict that you also manhandled them at times, and you roll out and you hit Zachariah Branch on a 3rd and 7. He's sitting at 3rd and 8. He's sitting 8 yards downfield. And here's the thing about Cash Jones: a lot of people complain about him, but when he's in, he puts the defense in conflict. They don't know what's coming, and they roll him out and they throw to him or they hand it to him. And he
damn sure ain't a handoff. Good God.
And sometimes it works. He converted a couple 3rd downs tonight. So
yeah.
I know people are like, well, and here's my thing though is Chauncey Bowens can also catch.
I'm pretty sure Nate Frazier can too.
But when he gets in there, they play it like a run. Yep. So I'm like, okay, if they're going to play the tendency that he's going to run it, because he does run it more than anything else, throw it to him. All
right, boys. I'm gonna log off. Let y'all have it. I'm gonna go watch the rest of college football, and hopefully Tech loses. So Ben, great seeing you, brother.
Oh wait, Eddie, do you think Georgia can win out?
Oh, hey, good job, Ben. That's what a good co-host does.
Well, let me think. Can they win out? Or let's see. Let me think about it for
He's about to do Matt Alston disappear.
I'm not sure. Yes, they can win out. I'll put it that way. That's how you answer the question, Paul. Yes, they can win out. Instead of fluffing around and doing all this BS.
Yeah, I mean, Paul talked for 40 minutes, didn't say anything. We'll get him on the next Kirby Smart press conference.
Yeah.
There's no worries for the whale, guys.
He uses lotion to wash his body off.
Everybody day to day.
Like the girl down in, what was that movie? It uses the lotion to make its skin cleaner. I'm drawing a total blank.
Puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, a little that's a little KC has a good question. Where is Sokovie White? That was my question on the pass to Landon Roldan.
Probably
all right, I'm out, guys. Thank y'all.
Hey,
Thank you,
make sure you guys tune into the Peach State Power Hour presented by UGAsports.com tomorrow at 7:30 with Eddie from Ackworth, Andy Stowe, and Harrison Reno.
Man,
good
what a guy.
job.
What a guy Paul is. He's so great. I love him. I want to hug him right now, but I can't. If I hugged him, I'd probably slip right off him, right?
I'd beat you up so good.
Well, now he's got that thing where he uses the same lotion to shave, and it's just bad.
I'm gonna log out too. I love you guys. Take it easy.
See you, Paul. Hug those kids for me.
Yeah, man. Bye.
All right. Ben, we need to close this thing up because I've got some stuff I got to do. We've been on here 2.5 hours. Give me your helmet stickers real quick.
I'm going to go on offense. I got to go Zachariah Branch. I don't know why my things are getting all blurry, but we'll just roll it. So I'm going to go Zachariah Branch on offense. And then on defense, I'm going to go CJ Allen because I felt like he made a bunch of big crucial tackles. So I'm going to go there, offense and defense.
Okay. Give me Chauncey Bowens, 9 carries, 70 yards, that 36 yards, 36 yard long TD was great. The one touchdown that he had was huge. I also want to give one to Dylan Bell. I asked in my 3-2-1 column, please feed Dylan Bell like you when you go visit your grandmother. You know, she makes you a plate. And you can't see the Chinette or Dixie plate anymore because it's so full of food. And then when you turn around, she puts more food on it. Feed Dylan Bell. Everything that went to Noah Thomas should have gone to Dylan Bell. Everything that went to Oscar Delp should have gone to Dylan Bell. Point being, 4 touches, 43 yards, longest 17. I mean, the guy averages 10 yards a carry, or 10 yards a touch, just like Zachariah Branch did. I love feeding that guy. But I'm with you. Also, like I said, Chauncey Bowens didn't. I hate to bring up this speculation, but sometimes when you don't see a player for an entire first quarter or first half, sometimes there's something going on outside of what's going on. Like, hey, you were late to a test.
Yeah.
You don't get to play the first quarter. Not saying that happened to Chauncey Bowens, but why the hell did it take so long for them to put him in the game?
I was going to ask you that question. I think he only had like 2 carries the first half. Made no sense to me.
Mind-boggling to me. Now, remember when he had the calf injury, was against Auburn, he still scored and they still used him. So maybe he still has a calf injury. We need to go back. There's just so many stories at UGA Sports right now that I have not read. We've got news and notes, sidebars, injury updates. The Georgia defense rises in the clutch. Post-game comments from Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart could do without the drama. What Billy Gonzalez, all the Florida players, said about Georgia. We've got that over there. We've got Gunnar Stockton overcomes his emotions in his first Jacksonville start. Again, there's more freaking stories over there at UGAsports.com right now that I even know what to do with. So we need to check out all of those. But on defense, it's going to sound terrible. But I got to go with Zion Branch. Now, because you got CJ Allen, that was my guy. I do want to give one to Raylan Wilson. 8 tackles, 2 solo, a half tackle for loss. He did have the pass interference call, but that is a tough route for him to run down on the wheel route. But Zion Branch gets pressed into duty. He hasn't played all year. Dude had 6 tackles. He did have that one really bad personal pass interference call, but it's not like he's played a whole lot. He did come in and chipped in with 6 tackles. I'll give him a helmet sticker.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. I think Raylan Wilson would have been my other defensive one if I went with 2. He had some good stops on some of the runs by Lagway. He had like 2 or 3.
He did. Rolled guys up. I mean, you see number 5 just rolling with him. That was big. And it'd be very easy to say, well, he had that pass interference call, so therefore he doesn't get one. Come on, man. They attacked any time they knew that they were going to get a linebacker in coverage, they threw at him. And when you're running down the field on a wheel route, just to be step for step with the guy, that was impressive. But, he got his left hand on him a little bit, and therefore they threw a flag. They wouldn't have given Georgia the same courtesy, but they did pick Georgia for the foul there.
Yeah. I was going to say Oscar Delp. I know he doesn't light up the stat sheet. I think he had that big catch on the mesh little drag route that he had for like 20 yards in the first drive. But his blocking, he bulldozed Cormani McLean at the end of the game. Like, he was just blocking his tail off. And I think I've seen these tapes all year. I know Brent Rollins and some other people can get into him, that he's better than what the box score says. Like on tape, people think at the next level, he'll be a better pro than he is in college. That's probably my one gripe with the offense. Sometimes use your tight ends over the middle of the field because linebackers are always liabilities in coverage, and you have the tight ends to do it. Oscar Delp, to me, got one today. He played his ass off.
And I think we got to give one to Gunnar Stockton. I mean, 20 of 29 is 69%. Can't beat that. 223 yards. Can't beat that. 2 passing touchdowns. Can't beat that. 1 interception that we know wasn't his fault. But quarterback rating of 149.4. That's pretty good. So, and again, just freaking tough. How many rushing yards do you? I hate when they give the sack yards and all that stuff. So
that's another stat that needs to change. They should just only have that affect total yards because that's the only thing it affects, not passing or rushing.
Right. So it says he has 13 carries for 11 yards. I'm like, that is some BS.
So when he gets sacked, it counts as a carry.
And there were times that his like that sack Monroe Freeling gave up. And don't get me wrong, Monroe only gave up the 1 sack, but it was frustrating. The timing of it was god awful. It just hit at the worst possible time. But my point is, that's not something. I hate that takes away from his rushing yards. Also, when I said that he would have more yardage than I think the over/under was like 39, and I picked the over. So I have a personal stake in my prop bet on that one. So, all right. Let's see. Well, and Omari Carmichael, who, by the way, Omari actually won our flight gift pack today. So shout out to Omari. He says the O-line deserves a helmet sticker.
I don't think Bobo would accept one after today because it wasn't just the snap, the blitz where it was the call where it was incomplete before the end of the half. He did not pick up the safety that was blitzing up the middle. He should have picked that one up. So he had a rough
off of his right hip. And all you have to do is throw your ass out there, and that sack doesn't happen. So, but I'm with you, Omari. Omari has a good eye, but they did not. And there were times that they gave Gunner a lot of time, but there were also times where they let a few guys get to Gunner, and Gunner was running for his life. So, but look, Omari Carmichael's good sponsor of the show. He says give him a helmet sticker, then we'll print up some and send them to the offensive line. So, all right, folks, that's all the time we have for this week's show. We've been on here about 2 hours and 40 minutes. I got to run. I love you all. I appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks for closing out with me, Ben. We will see everybody next week. Y'all take care.